Welcome to The Backlash, a weekly exploration of America's awakening. I am your host, Rebecca Hargraves, joined as always by Mr. Dave Riley. How you doing, Dave?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you, Cameron?
I'm doing well, guys. Let's get to it.
All right. You can find us on X at Real Backlash. Our website, thebacklash.net. Support us on subscribestar.com/thebacklash, patreon.com/thebacklash. Send your super chats that will be read live at the end of our show to my YouTube channel, Bond in the Belly of the Beast, or our YouTube channel at Real Backlash, or our website, thebacklash.net/super chat, where they take the the smallest cut. So that would be preferable for us and for you. Make sure you sub to us on YouTube, on Rumble at Backlash Podcast. All of our links are on our website, Instagram, TikTok. Follow us in all the places. We would really appreciate it. And thank you for joining us today. Excuse me. I don't know what's going on.
Whooping cough.
Oh,
It's going around.
are you serious?
Yep.
Can you thank the sponsors real quick?
Yeah, we'd like to thank our sponsors. Atlas Bullion, premier gold and silver dealers on the internet. They're fantastic. Idaho Tallow Company, they make soap without endocrine disruptors and junk. And we've got Antelope Hill Publishing, pro-white publishing, fighting to keep history alive.
We got a big donation this week.
Yeah, we did.
We would like to thank this donor for keeping the show alive. It was so helpful. I don't know if he's cleared us to talk about it.
Not really, but I did want to send a special thanks to Matt, who sent us $2,000. Amazing.
I know. We really appreciate it. Big
I wanted
thanks
to also read his reasoning behind it. He sent us an email. I should have printed it out, but I didn't. And it is right here. From Matt. He said, woo! He was wondering if we got the check because my signature is like a doctor's signature. He said, anyway, no need to thank me. Your exposure of the Antichrist workings of Candlelight Christian Fellowship sold me on you guys. I hate what they do to you. You seem very genuine in your faith in Christ, and that is good to see. Continue to do work for the kingdom of God, and that is thanks enough. Thanks again for all you do, Matt. Well, thank you, Matt.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate it.
You guys are truly keeping the show alive. And we do have a new sponsor with us. We're very grateful to Above Time Coffee Roasters.
Do you smell that?
Mm-mm.
smell that.
You can smell it outside of the box.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have your knife?
I do. My German knife. It's a Mercator stainless. This guy.
I'm sorry, guys. I think I've
So
got it under
awesome.
control.
Did
People
we
get
get a script from them, by the way?
I don't know.
I don't know if we've gotten like a script from them yet. There we go.
People get so pissed when you cough on air. Like, you can control it.
No, you can't.
You can't control. I'm sorry. I will not ruin the stream with my coughing. This is a new development.
But we will definitely not be ruining the stream with this coffee.
Ha ha.
There we go. Here, you want to hold that up. But we got, oh, yeah, Italian organic dark roast coffee.
Nice.
Oh, it smells so good.
Above Time Coffee Roasters was launched because we saw a need for the creation of a more pro-white business serving our people. I have it on good authority. This is small batch coffee, toxin-free.
Yeah, everyone is hand roasted, small batch, to order. So it's not sitting around in some warehouse.
Oh, is this all the same? No.
No, they're all different.
This one smells
What's
the
the
best.
website? Above Time Coffee?
Hagalaz medium roast. Not kosher certified.
Very true. Here is their website. It is abovetimecoffee.com, and it's not loading. There we go. So you can go to abovetimecoffee.com. They have got, this is some of the best smelling coffee that I have smelled in like a long time. Next episode, we'll have to,
Try it out.
actually like brew a pot. I'm looking forward to it. But
I'm a bona fide addict. It's a real problem.
they've got French press. They've got this is the ones that we got, the blonde roast.
Hey.
Ho-ho! And the Italian roast. I don't know where that one is. But really looking forward to this. They're amazing. Pro-white company. Give them your business. We do appreciate it. And by the way, we have an Antelope discount code now. 10% off with your purchase if you put in promo code Backlash10.
Nice. We're going to be talking elections, the RJC, right-wing ideological civil war, and what this means for the movement. Dave, do you want to talk a little bit about the elections? Take us away.
Mamdani won, the CIA won Virginia. That's it.
That's the whole thing?
Yep.
Why is that?
Why is what?
Why did they win? Why did Mamdani win?
Well, Mamdani won because the Republicans only care about Israel. And, you know, the vote is split. Plus, a lot of people in New York wouldn't come out and vote for Cuomo. So Mamdani won. And he's essentially a front for like MI6 and CIA. He was born in Uganda and then left early on. I believe this was during Idi Amin, his tenure in Uganda. He went to England, worked with a front company with MI6, went back to Uganda, and then came to America, where he went to a school in Maine. That's like a CIA feeder school. And then New York, he became a citizen, started his campaign, and now he won. So
You
CIA
mentioned that this was due
backed.
to the Israel coalition failures.
That is a big part of it. Then there's also this issue of, you know, he's clearly backed by the CIA. Alex Soros, George Soros is a CIA guy. So, yeah, he took over there. And then in Virginia, all of the candidates that are there are deep state CIA people. So they are reasserting dominance.
We are seeing the Israel coalition more broadly fail. And I was thinking about, why is this today? Why are we seeing myriad failures amongst the cause of Israel? And one of the things that we talk about all the time is that their messaging is just collapsing as the truth gets out about Gaza. And the other thing, Cameron sent us this interesting clip. He said, I think that when he sent this, he's like, people think we can't fight these people. Israel weak. If you can pull that up, Dave. Around 200,000 ultra-Orthodox Jews brought West Jerusalem to a standstill to protest plans to draft them into the Israeli army following last year's court decision to overturn conscription exemptions for Jewish seminary students. The move has become a political headache for Netanyahu, whose coalition relies on their support. So did we play this whole clip?
Yeah, I mean, it's looping.
Yeah, I mean, there's no coverage of this. Nobody is really talking about this. And I think that we fall into this trap of seeing Israel as a united front, as impossible to defeat, and as so enmeshed with United States interests that we just can't do anything about it. But I think that the problem might take care of itself. What do you think, Cameron?
Well, look, I think what's happening is Israel, it seems, is on the cusp of becoming a failed state. Right. So, I think Dave mentioned at the inception of the podcast that there's this 80-year cycle that seems to bedevil Jewish states. They can't seem to exceed it. Well, they've got 5, 6, 7 fronts that they're fighting abroad. We're well versed in those. We've talked about those. They include states like Iran. They include fighting the Houthis. They include fighting Hezbollah, Hamas. Obviously, you have the conflict brewing in the background with Iran. Netanyahu has added the propaganda war, but then there's the internal war. And the fact of the matter is that Netanyahu is taking a country that's very fragile, that's divided, that has serious sectarian divisions within it. I mean, very serious commentators, people that I trust, like Elon Pape, have said that Israel is on the path to a civil war before October 2023. And so he took this very fragile and divided state, essentially consolidated around a hardcore right-wing religious ideology, alienating a lot of the Ashkenazi Jews in the country. And he is now stuck with that coalition and a shrinking population and putting them into a war footing. And needless to say, the Jewish population isn't prepared for that. They assumed that the United States would step in and fight all the wars. So I think what you're seeing is the collapse of Israel as a state and the support domestically in the United States. As you point out, Rebecca, that has collapsed. And interestingly enough, it's collapsed because they're under siege, both on the right from people in America First. Obviously, we talk about that at length. But it's also because of what's happened on the left. And this is the self-destruction that these people invite every 100, 200 some odd years. And that's what we're seeing on display. This is a massive win for us as a country. And I think it'll probably be conducive to world peace. The question is, how much collateral damage will there be before you get some kind of a regime change in Israel that stops these crazy wars? That I'm sure I don't know.
Do you think the American government has the impetus or the resources to swoop in and protect them from failed state status?
No, we don't. Remember, we basically have Israel on life support at any given time. It's not just that we support them militarily. We support their entire economy. We have for some time, but now resources are scarce. We have our own problems to deal with, and we're embroiled in conflicts all over the world, the latest being Venezuela. And I think that there was an assumption by many Zionist groups in the United States that we had limitless resources, that we were the impregnable wall that could always be turned to whenever the Israelis needed it. And it turns out that that's not the case. So, yeah, I think they're in big trouble. Needless to say, we aren't out of the woods. Nothing that I said is going to prevent us from plunging into a war at their behest. They still control Congress. As Dave pointed out a moment ago, they still wield tremendous political power. But the bottom line is that they've been exposed. Everybody knows who's really running the U.S. government. They know about their untoward influence. They know about Epstein. And so their influence has peaked, and now it's beginning to roll over. And eventually that's going to create real conflict and backlash, hence the name of our show. That's coming. And I suspect that will really escalate when the financial system goes, which I think is operating in the background too.
Mm-hmm. How much of the economic situation do you think it has contribute to the election outcomes, Dave?
What?
How much has our current economic system contributed to the election outcomes?
What election outcomes?
From this week?
I mean, a lot, I guess. Actually, not really. No, I don't think so.
I'm seeing a lot of people cite that, but I kind of agree.
I mean, the Mamdani thing wasn't about the economy. The Mamdani thing was an anti-Zionist play,
right,
in New York. It was the people in New York that are fed up with the Jewish landlords that have been scalping their people, raising the rent prices, and then taking the profits from New York to Israel to bomb Gaza. And that's what that was about.
Right. I've been hearing a lot of talk this week about ideological civil war, about civil war in the United States, what that is going to look like. I had a few clips about that. Can you pull up two? I mean, our economic situation is worse than I think the average person realizes. Even people that are not doing well don't realize how much of the country can't handle a $500 emergency, that a third of people are living near or below the poverty line. Let's play this clip really quick.
Show you this.
Worse than I think the average
this is
person.
From Grok.
Whoops, hold on.
Jimmy Dore's don't realize
We've got an
how
issue.
much of the country.
There we go.
29% of Americans are considered low income. That's according to the U.S. Census Bureau, and that's 98 million Americans.
Good Lord.
29% of the population. 98 million Americans are considered low income. And what I've said for years is, what do you call a system that takes the richest country in the world and renders 100 million of its population low income? You call that a failed system. That's what I would call that. And then 70% of the people working live paycheck to paycheck, and half the people in the country can't afford a $500 emergency. What do you call that? You call that a failed system. Those are not individuals failing. That's your system, your country en masse failing. And just one more before I get to the video, highlights. So the CEO to worker pay ratio, it rose from 40. So it used to be a worker made $1 and the CEO made 42. That was back in 1980. Well, now, as of 2021, the worker makes $1, the CEO makes $351.
That's an incredible statistic. Can we pull up 3? The middle class is being completely destroyed. And this is not a left or right issue. This clip from CNN was somewhat shocking. They were just talking about how they're concerned that the erosion of the middle class is going to prevent the emergence of future billionaires.
You wanted the...
This one, yep.
Okay, got it.
I think it's pretty short. 324.
So now normally they talk about things being left right. Let's watch. Here we go.
Of course, the Civil War will probably prevent more billionaires from happening.
Who cares?
So he just said the Civil War will probably prevent more billionaires from happening. And they're upset because more billionaires means a healthy economy. That is not what it means. It means a worsening economy and a bigger income inequality and rich and poor and the middle class being squeezed out. That's what more billionaires means. But they're upset about this, and they say the Civil War is coming. Watch
Of course,
this.
the Civil War will probably prevent more billionaires from happening.
Probably.
We're hearing about that more and more. I think Dahlia is spouting that prophecy.
The Civil War is
again.
coming?
Just the class struggle because of...
Not between the North and the South or the red.
Oh, no,
states.
no,
He's talking
between the
about
head.
maps
Yeah,
and
exactly. It's like let them eat cake, guillotine, Gotham type stuff. Mamdani?
So there it is. So that normally on cable news, they only talk about left, right. Well, right there, they talked about what James Corbett talks about in this book, up, down. So they're talking about it's not left versus right. It's up, down. It's the masses against the oligarchs, the billionaire.
Yes, and James Corbett was on this episode. I encourage you guys to watch this whole thing. It was really interesting. But James Corbett brings an important point, because when I hear people talking about Civil War, I want to save that definition for mass violence. Like I heard Nick say it a bunch of times this week. I've heard a lot of people say it at the Jewish convention, and it makes me nervous. It makes me nervous to kind of change the definition. But I guess I didn't really understand that there are multiple levels of civil war, and that we are experiencing some of them. This is James Corbett, clip 4.
Okay, I think there are 3 levels of warfare that we're talking about here. The first and overarching one that is already happening is the 5th generation war on everyone. So for people who don't know, military theorists have been talking about 4 generations of war for a long time. There was the old kind where armies would line up on battlefields and shoot at each other. That developed, and then we started to get the guerrilla warfare and things that we saw in Vietnam. Then 4th generation warfare. Now there's something called 5th generation warfare, which is essentially the governments of nations warring against their own citizens economically, with biohazards and biosecurity threats, and with information warfare, everything that you can think of. Basically, the oligarchs who really run the country, not the politicians, trying to control the masses in various ways. But when the population starts to wake up to realize, oh, hey, there's this warfare, and I think it's the government that's warring against us. What do you do about that? And that's when you start to get into that revolutionary war kind of thing that the CNBC hosts or whoever are fretting about. Oh my God, this might prevent more billionaires from rising. But at that moment, I think there is that kind of crisis moment of realization and, hey, we've got to do something about this. The question is, what will the oligarchs do about that? And we saw in 2008, the last time we saw that sort of realization, hey, what the hell is happening? Suddenly there's a $700 billion bailout on the table. Remember when that was a lot of money? And people were starting to, too big to jail, all of that sort of stuff. That's a revolutionary moment. People start rising up. You got people on the right in the Tea Party. You got people on the left in Occupy Wall Street, basically saying the same thing. We're the 99%. There's 1% at the top that's trying to control us. So what do? They make everything about transgender bathrooms. And that becomes, the big talking point of the 2010s. And bye-bye all of that talk.
Into how they've created these cultural issues so that we will turn on our neighbors and not fight the oligarchs. And that seems fairly obvious based on what we've been talking about. So I guess my question is, we've got this very weak financial situation. Israel is doubling down. They're weakening internally. Public support in America is at an all-time low. What is going to become of our government? And are we truly in a civil war? Let's go to you, Cameron.
Well, look, what you heard is a very leftist, superficial assessment of where we are. The situation is a lot more complex than that. It's not the haves versus the have-nots or these tiny cabal of people that run everything. I rather tire of hearing that, especially when you ask follow-up questions like, to whom exactly are you referring? Who are the oligarchs per se? If you go back to 2010, I remember the Tea Party distinctly. In fact, I was part of it early on when it got started, and I remember Occupy Wall Street. Well, Occupy Wall Street was basically these tentacles that started in major cities, not just in the U.S. either. There were several in Europe, and they were just communists. Most of these people, they wanted to eliminate private property. They wanted to guillotine people that had money. I mean, it was all kinds of crazy shit. However, there was a very real consciousness among them that Zionism, that Jewish power had a lot to do with the financial mess. And I distinctly remember the left trying to suppress that because they didn't want that to become the dominant characteristic of Occupy Wall Street. The Tea Party was altogether different. The Tea Party was focused primarily on the national debt and the bailouts and establishing fiscal discipline. And I think the Tea Party failed in large measure because they refused to become a new party. That's something we've talked about on this platform before. Instead, they just said, well, we'll try and change the Republican Party from within. A lot of people still think that way. And as I've said before, I think that is a massive mistake. A better way to think about things, I think, is threefold. The first is that the elites or the oligarchs, if you want to call them that, are not monolithic. They're not. I've put them in three basic groups. There's financial elites, and we all know for the most part who they are. They're people like Larry Fink, who runs BlackRock. They tend to be Wall Streeters, hedge fund managers, central bankers, people of that ilk. Howard Lutnick is a Wall Streeter, right? He's a financial elite. Then you have the Zionists, and I would subsume the neocons underneath them. And these are people that dominate. They're overwhelmingly Jewish, and they tend to dominate our foreign affairs. And they try to plunge the United States into all manner of conflict around the globe because they want to leverage American military power to create global hegemony. And then thirdly, you've got the revolutionaries. And the revolutionaries are people like Ann Applebaum, Noam Chomsky. This is David Brock at Media Matters. These are people that want to invert society culturally, racially, religiously, and otherwise. These three groups don't always align. In fact, they can be quite fragmented. But what is absolutely clear to me is that nobody's really in control of the government. This notion that there's a monolithic political structure, that is a mistake. As we've said before, there are many different agencies like the CIA that are rogue, that have their own interests. And the one thing they all have in common, to be sure, is that they undermine the national interest. There's no question about that. But it doesn't mean that they're all swimming in the same direction either. So this is an oversimplification. The other thing is the leftist mantra, it's the haves against the have-nots, suggests that these racial divides that we have, religious divides, linguistic divides, cultural divides, that those are artificial, that they're distractions. No, they're not. They're fundamental. I think race is the most fundamental divide in the United States today. It's the most hotly contested issue in the United States today, other than the JQ, which is why we talk about it all the time. That's not fictitious. It's not a distraction. That is at the epicenter of everything that we're dealing with. So that represents a war against white America and its replacement. That's what this whole thing is about. It's not the haves versus the have-nots or the 1%ers versus the 99%. There are elements of those things. But fundamentally speaking, what you have is a government that's completely out of control, a government that's been sabotaged and subverted by foreign interests, rogue interests domestically, what have you. And thirdly, a government that just doesn't work anymore. A constitutional framework that is broken structurally, systemically, etc. That's the situation that we face. That means you could get all manner of conflict. I think we're in a revolutionary moment. I think that's the right way to look at it. But there's no question that tribalism is ascendant. And as the economy really starts to crumble, you're going to see an intensification of that everywhere. And that's what we're seeing. Chicago, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, it goes on. And that's only going to get worse.
Right. And I think that this was really evidence at the RJC this week. I couldn't believe some of the stuff that I was seeing, even though I expected kind of all of these things. It was still astonishing to hear. I wanted to play a little bit of Trump's speech. I don't know how he managed to be servile and self-aggrandizing at the same time. It's like only he could do this. We don't have to watch this whole thing. He basically just glazes Israel for 4 minutes, but let's watch a little bit.
Hello to everyone at the Republican Jewish Coalition, and congratulations on 40 amazing years. I want to thank your national chairman, former Senator Norm Coleman, along with your CEO, Matt Brooks, and my friend, Miriam Adelson, and so many other incredible supporters, distinguished guests out in beautiful Las Vegas. 4 days from now, we will celebrate the one-year anniversary of the most important election victory in the history of our country. With the help of many of you, we won all 7 swing states by millions of votes. We won the Electoral College 312 to 226. We won the popular vote for the first time of any Republican in decades, and we won 86% of the counties in America, 2,700 to 525. Jews. And very importantly, the RJC helped ensure that we won the highest percentage of Jewish vote of any Republican since 1988. I can't imagine we didn't do better than that after all I've done for the Jewish vote, I must be honest with you, but that's okay. 1988's not that bad. 1 year ago, we were a dead country.
He was nagging the Jews on this? Yeah. Was that you? Was it that part that you were talking about? Oh, okay. So you think that was tongue-in-cheek?
Yeah.
What do you think, Cameron? He seems sincere to me.
I don't know. He's bought and paid for. It's just shameless. I mean, of all the shit that's going on in this country, some of which we just went through, the economic hardship, to sit there and shamelessly kowtow to these people who have nothing but hostility and hatred for this country and are actively involved in destroying it. It's just unconscionable. But I guess that's Donald Trump for you. Whoever the highest bidder is, well, that's the attention that's on him. And I just, it's unacceptable. It really is. This guy is a total fraud. He's just a total fraud.
Let's watch this Levin crash out. I wish I wanted to compile more of this, but this is probably the most important part. But he just spent so much time crashing out spectacularly.
And I just want the anti-American, anti-Israel, anti-West crowd to understand something. You're going to have to come through me and millions of people just like me, and you're not going to make it.
Oh, no.
You think your stupid little podcast, or your stupid little subscription program, or your little TV show, or maybe you have a little radio show, is going to change the world like hell it is, not if I and everybody else have something to say about it. And I just want...
Unreal. He has a podcast and a radio show. What is he talking about? He knows that legacy media doesn't influence people in the same way that it used to. This is so insulting. Not to mention that he's going to be the arbiter of what is right, of what the American people want. Anyway, he just continues. He calls out Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes, blah, 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 blah. He does all the same thing. The most astonishing speech, though, I think from anybody was what Randy Fine said. This was just too on the nose, no pun intended.
I am here to fight, and we are in a time where we need fighters. We need people to go out and fight. We need people who are not going to be afraid, because if we stay silent in the face of what is coming, not only on the left, but on our own side as well, our time in this country could come to an end as well. Jews have been kicked out of every country we've ever lived, and it's never been our own fault. And there are people who would like to do the same to us here, and unfortunately, some of them are in our own party. But I can promise you this, as long as I'm in Congress,
we're good. That was
they
fun. It's just unreal to hear them say this. Like, what is he thinking? I heard Mark Dice say today, like, I've been kicked out of every bar I've ever been to, over 100 bars, and it's never been my fault. They really believe this. And
arrogance, paranoia,
yes.
delusion. Arrogance, paranoia, delusion. And as I said repeatedly, if you're arrogant, you don't have self-awareness. You don't really know what's going on. If you're paranoid and you see monsters everywhere, you don't have a grip on reality. You become delusional. And when that happens, you start making very poor decisions. But what you're seeing is an unmasking. This is who these people are. They're telling you who they are. They're saying, basically, if you strip it down, if you oppose our dominance of your society, if you oppose our will, we will fucking destroy you. This is what they think of you. Be our slave, be subservient, be dominated by us and like it or else. This is outrageous. This is just nonsense. But what it does tell you is that they're scared. They're very afraid because they're losing control. No question about it.
Yeah, it reeked of desperation. They seemed increasingly, I don't think speech can be violent per se, but that they seemed very desperate about a coming civil war, about the dissolution of the conservative movement as we know it. Ben Shapiro came out with this video, which was 40 minutes long. Nick Fuentes said, he's serious because he didn't play any ads, which is totally true. But I just want to play this little clip. He's talking about what an American is, and like he's the purveyor of truth or Americanism, despite being a Jew and a dual citizen.
Americans hate Tucker Carlson's laundered anti-Americanism. Republicans think it's trash. Independents think it's trash. Democrats think it's trash. Americans are not pro-segregation, pro-rape, anti-woman, pro-child marriage, anti-black, anti-Jew, anti-Indian, anti-Latino, anti-Constitution, pro-Hitler nutjobs like Nick Fuentes. And Americans are not pro-Putin, pro-Iran, pro-China, pro-Venezuela, pro-Hamas, pro-Fuentes, pro-Tate idiots like Tucker Carlson. They hate this vile garbage. If Republicans decide to cower before the likes of neo-Nazis and their propagandizers, they deserve to lose. And they will lose. Neo-Nazis and their propagandizers are not Republicans. They are not America First. They are not MAGA. They sure as hell aren't conservative. These people aren't to my right. They are not attached in any way to the fundamental principles of conservatism. And these people have already declared themselves to be my enemies. I'd be a fool not to take them seriously. If they get their way, they will hollow out the Republican Party, lead it to electoral catastrophe, and empty it and the country of any semblance of decency in the process. My answer is no. No to the Groypers. No to their publicists like Tucker Carlson. No to those who champion them. No to demoralization. No to bigotry and anti-meritocratic horse shit. No to anti-Americanism. No. This is our country. This is our party. And this is our conservative movement. And I will not stand by while it is handed over to those who betray the most fundamental principles I have spent my entire life defending and advocating. That is a path to defeat and a path to moral oblivion. I reject it because if we lose the right, we will lose to the left. And either way, we'll lose the country. I'm Ben Shapiro. This is The Ben Shapiro Show. Americans.
But as is evidenced by that CNBC clip, this is not a part of the left-right dichotomy. We have multiple fissures in the conservative movement. One is between Zionists and anti-Zionists. And then we're having this Groyper v. Wignat thing going on. And it seems like there is just so much tension within conservatism because we're having a problem trying to decide what we are, what the movement is about, who is our leadership, and where we're going. You want to talk about this, Dave?
Well, let me just address the Ben Shapiro stuff first, and then let's get to the Fuentes stuff. Much of what Ben Shapiro said is absolutely correct. What he's describing is a pluralistic America. And as I've said before, and perhaps I don't do as good of a job as I need to of articulating it, that America is dead. It's dying. The United States, as represented by us, the three of us on this podcast, by the ethnos, as I like to say, the real America, that America is not dying. The heartbeat of that America is beginning to beat. And that is what is particularly alarming to Ben Shapiro. But if you go through in detail what he says, am I a conservative? No, I don't want to conserve pluralistic America. I don't want to live in a multiracial society where whites become a shrinking minority in their own society. I don't want to live at the behest of Jewish dominance. All of those things are the core pillars of his conservatism. And indeed, that's what the Conservative Party represents. You just heard it from our dear president. He essentially has capitulated and enslaved himself to Jewish power. That's what conservatism is today. So no, we have nothing to do with conservatism. We are eating the Republican Party. The Republican Party is a fossil. It's a disease fossil that was destroyed by Jewish subversion. We know that. So basically, everything that Shapiro said, more or less, is exactly correct. And that is why I have said that we are in a state of becoming. We are creating new political organizations and metapolitical organizations on the road to a completely transformed and reawakened America. And he wants nothing to do with that, because in that America, Ben Shapiro and Jewish power and this mishmash of different racial groups are not the dominant paradigm. In fact, they will be challenged, overthrown, and expelled. And that is the future of this country. He fears it. I think he knows that it's coming, and it is. There's nothing he can do to stop it.
Right. And I think we've seen what happens when your movement is built on what you are not, what you are against. If you don't define the positive values of a movement, then what really are you? And then I think that represents kind of these growing pains. I mean, we're going to talk about this Nick Fuentes thing. I know this is a highly contentious subject. And before we talk about it all, I'm not anti-Groyper. I want Nick to succeed. I like Nick. He has done a lot of good work for the movement. He has sacrificed a lot. But we still need to talk about this, because there is this massive issue on the right. My DMs are just filled with it's America first versus white first. So we're going to pull up clip 9. We're going to talk about what Fuentes has said in the last, I think this was like 5 or 6 days ago.
Some backbone, get the courage of your convictions. If you're out there, and by the way, I don't care what color you are. I know maybe that's going to be controversial on my side, but seriously, if you have citizenship, if you were born in this country, this is your birthright. This is our lives. This is our rights. This is our heritage. It's our tax dollars. It's our government. It's our military. This is our country. This is our empire. I'll unite with anybody who proclaims America first above all other countries, including and especially Israel. And they're on the other side of this one, and they're wrong. They need to be put back in their place.
I think the concern here...
Anybody who says that America should come second needs...
Was that it?
Yeah.
I think the concern here is that we are going to become civic nationalists with an anti-Israel bend. Now, that would be a great improvement on the civic nationalism that we've seen in the past. Israel is the real problem. But for ethno-nationalists, hearing that we have to, bring minorities into the fold to succeed, that has been problematic. And so there was a lot of backlash from, who does Nick mention specifically? He mentions Devin Stack, Asha Logos, someone else. Let's play clip 10. I can't remember who the other person was.
Is that true? Separately, do you believe just because a Mexican was born here that they have a birthright? Mexicans were only 4% of the pop-up until 1970 and are the largest collective of welfare recipients, etc. A foreigner in the Bible is not determined by paperwork, but by blood.
Well, I love that. I'm glad you brought that up. So on my show last week, we're talking about Israel first versus America first. And I said that Josh Hammer, his wife is Israeli. His kids are Israeli. I said, they're not even from here. I said, if you're from here, if you're born here, I said, this is your birthright. This is America. And I saw all of my ankle biters in the pro-white movement took that clip and they said, is Nick Fuentes endorsing birthright citizenship? Do you think that is the point of that clip? We're talking about America first versus Israel first. We're talking about people that literally are foreigners. They're foreign nationals, bossing us around, intimidating us, controlling our system. In this context, I said, if you're born in America, if you're a citizen, this is your birthright. Their interpretation of that is, oh, so anchor babies own America? Really? That's what you got from that? Me telling people Americans should take pride in being American. That's what you got out of that? And what was funny is the only people that heard it that way were like so-called white nationalists. Isn't that amazing? Because I haven't proven that I'm pro-white. Like, I do a show every night. I was at Charlottesville. I opposed Donald Trump in the election because he wasn't in favor of an immigration moratorium. I'm against Donald Trump because he's not deporting enough people. I say this every night. And they took this little loophole semantic thing and said, oh, so I guess he's in favor. And, you know, this is why I have a real problem with a lot of white nationalists. It's not because of what they believe. It's because of how they act. Shouldn't you be supporting me? Like, isn't this a time when our people should be circling the wagons around each other? Like, there's this all-out attack from the Republican Jewish Coalition, from Mark Levin, from... Like, we're in the battle over American sovereignty. Shouldn't you people who are supposed to be pro-white, like, I'm not pro-white enough suddenly? In what way? Because of a semantic way that you interpreted that?
No.
And they use it as an opportunity to attack me, to one-up me, and score a point and say, oh, I'm going to take the piss. This little clip, yeah, I like Nick, but this was no good. Really? And so everybody that did that is dead to me. So I saw Devin Stack say that. I saw Asha Logo say that. Eric Arvol is DMing me saying, are you against birthright citizenship in DMs? Really? How are you going to be pro-white? You're not even going to support me. How are you for all white people and, ecumenical pro-white politics? You're going to throw me under the bus?
I mean, that maybe this is less of a problem of big tent conservatism and more of a problem of whether or not we believe that America is salvageable. And I personally don't think we can use any system to save a country that is not salvageable, which is why I disagree with this position. Dave?
You're wrong. That's it. Okay.
Dave, you're going to have to get into this.
No, I don't. I'm not going to fucking participate in this.
Why?
Because it's bullshit fucking ankle biting, exactly what he's talking about.
I just don't think that we should have any person that's beyond reproach. He's just a man.
It's not a matter of it being beyond reproach. It's a matter of, are you going to try to fucking fix this goddamn country or not? And you're not. You didn't even fucking vote yesterday.
Yeah, I did not vote.
And guess what? You're fucked now. You've got Dan Gukin in as mayor.
My vote clearly wouldn't have made a difference.
Yeah, it would. It was 500 votes. It was 500 votes. What the fuck did Henrik and Lana do? Jack shit. What did any of the white nationalists in Coeur d'Alene do? Nothing. Nothing. They did fucking nothing. I sat on the phone for 5 hours and made phone calls on Monday. I sat out in the rain for 2 hours yesterday campaigning for these people, and we won in Post Falls, where I made my calls, where I volunteered, and Coeur d'Alene did jack shit. And then I've got people like Devin Stack coming at me on Twitter, trying to tell me about my fucking state, quoting bullshit from AI that's completely wrong, saying that Phil McGrain is the outgoing mayor of Coeur d'Alene. He's the fucking Secretary of State. He's not the outgoing mayor of Coeur d'Alene. There is not a bunch of money coming in from Dorothy Moon and the Idaho GOP to back Dan Gookin. The fucking Republican Party sued his ass last year. They sued him. The Republican Party up here has been against the Chamber of Commerce for 5 or 6 years now. This is the whole fucking point of it. And we've got these retards like Devin Stack and Arvel and apparently my co-hosts who, instead of throwing in and working together as a team to make this country a better place for our kids, we're gonna fucking ankle bite Nick Fuentes because he said something that was taken out of context by a bunch of fucking people who hate Jesus Christ, who hate the church, and who hate this country.
I have never taken any other position except that I'm an ethno-nationalist that believes that America is failing. And I have been totally consistent in that, in my not voting. I mean, will I vote in local politics in future? I don't know, maybe, probably. But there's no reason to say that levying a mild criticism at something that Nick Fuentes has said is me undermining the movement.
This isn't about leveling a mild criticism against Nick.
It is.
No, it is. We've got one kid that is going and hurling himself at the Jewish establishment like a human fucking hand grenade. He has had everything in the kitchen sink thrown at him for the last 10 years. I've lost friendships over Nick Fuentes. I have been smeared in the press over Nick Fuentes. And then all of a sudden, when Nick Fuentes breaches the outer wall and starts making a fucking difference, and people are waking up and starting to see this, getting on the same page, joining a movement and making a difference, and we're going to sit back and fucking ankle bite and be like, oh, he's for brown people.
I reject that this is ankle biting. We did the same thing to Donald Trump when we felt like our mission.
Totally different.
Let me
Trump
finish.
has been
Let me finish. When we felt like his mission was going off course, it is incumbent on the people of a movement, the people of a country, to keep their leaders on track. And that I believe that that's what we're doing.
So you believe Nick is off track?
In this, yes, I do. And I'm allowed to have an opinion that diverges from his. I didn't leave a show where I couldn't say what I want to join a show where I'm not allowed to say what I want because I'm afraid of the wrath of the groypers. I'm afraid of the groypers. I truly am. But like, I'll take their licks here because I disagree with Nick, and I'm allowed to disagree with Nick. It doesn't mean I don't like him as a person or I want the movement to fail. But I fundamentally disagree with the concept of big tent conservatism and using the system of the United States government to try to change the bloated system of the United States government. I disagree with that entirely. America as a project, I see it as a failure, and I just care more about white people across the world than I do about America. And that's the difference here. That doesn't mean that I want the America First movement to fail. It doesn't mean that I think groypers are losers. I don't. I mean, my heart is in ethno-nationalism, but I'm also very sympathetic to the groyper cause. So I don't like these accusations being leveled at me because I have been principled and I have been honest, and I would never speak to you this way. I would never call you a retard, Dave. I would never speak to you this way privately. I would never speak to you this way publicly. And I don't agree with this characterization of me. That's not what I did. I just think this is so unfair. Cameron, can we get you in here? Can you be the dad?
Yeah. Well, look, obviously it's an emotional issue for especially Dave, and I understand that. And I do think Fuentes has done a lot of good things, right? Things that we've talked about on the show before. My question to Dave is, if you were to take a clip of what we just watched, and I have to say, I don't watch Fuentes' material, so I'm not an expert in what he says. I've seen some clips here and there. But if you were to take that clip and go back 6 months and show it to Fuentes 6 months ago and say, hey, what do you think of this? My guess is Fuentes would flame himself. I mean, that take was incoherent. It was defensive. It was very odd. I don't think I've ever seen Fuentes talk like that. I mean, constant equivocations. Something's going on here. I don't know what it is. Others have talked about it over the last few weeks, particularly since Charlie Kirk's death. I don't know. I don't want to speculate. But my question to Dave is, do you not think that even 90 days ago, that his position was very different than what we just heard?
No, I think it's exactly the same as what it's been since the fucking beginning.
Fuentes said that white people are I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he's basically talked about the fact that white people in this country, okay, have been disadvantaged, have been oppressed, have been replaced for, I don't know, the bulk of a decade. And now all of a sudden, that's being tabled in some kind of broad, big tent message that accepts birthright citizenship.
That's
Those
not
two
what he's saying.
things,
He
I'm
never
sorry,
said
they
that
don't cohere.
He never said that he accepts birthright citizenship. Like, didn't we just fucking watch a clip of him saying that
I did. He said, I don't care what you are. That's what he said. We can go back and play it again.
Yeah, it was, if you want to play it again, it was clip...
it's the clip that's up on the screen right now.
Clip 9. I think
I
think that was the one where he said white nationalists are dead.
Yeah.
No, it's clip 9.
This is the clip.
Separately.
No, this is where he talks about white nationalists being dead to him.
Where he...
You're not...
So on my show last week, we're talking about Israel first versus America
what he
first.
originally said.
And I said that Josh Hammer, his wife, is Israeli. His kids are Israeli. I said they're not even...
You want to argue with, like, the dead word.
No, Cameron was referencing...
You want to argue with the dead word.
Cameron was referencing the original clip.
Which was taken out of context. He was talking about Josh Hammer.
Then let's hear what he has to say.
You have the truncated clip.
What did he say? What did he say before that? Before he said, I don't... This might be controversial, but I don't care what color you are.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about birthright citizenship. I mean, we're talking about allying with minority groups in order to achieve a popular America First movement versus an ethno-nationalist and homogenous people, not necessarily.
That's not, and like,
that's the difference.
I just don't understand what you people aren't understanding about this. We are occupied by Zionist Jewish power. They own the levers of Congress, the presidency, the FBI, the CIA, and we need to launch an offensive to put America first as opposed to Israel first. Until that problem is solved, we are never going to make this country better for the middle class, for white people, for anyone. Period. It's very simple.
How many illegal immigrants are there in the United States, Dave?
Somewhere between 25 and 50 million.
Yeah. I'd say that constitutes an existential crisis.
I agree. And guess what?
We can't
Nothing
get control
is happening.
of metropolitan areas in the United States.
Sure, and most metropolitan areas aren't white.
I think that is equally important. And I think what we are saying, Rebecca and I, is not that this is some revelation. It's not. It's that our views, at least until recently, seem to be in lockstep with Fuentes. He seems to have changed his opinion. And I think that's what these other folks are getting at. Now, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I didn't watch the whole clip. Maybe it was taken out of context. But what I will say is, and in that second clip, he seems rather defensive. And I don't know why. Why does he have to qualify and say, oh, well, I have done this, that, and there's no need for that. If you've done it, you've done it, right? So something else is going on here. That's what it suggests to me. And I don't know what that is.
Well, I think that the criticism is that he's moving towards a more centrist position to be more palatable to the masses. That is the criticism that I'm seeing levied against him. He has been going on all of these shows. So I think Dave is defensive because it seems like he's breaking through, and now we're taking that opportunity to criticize him. But I mean, he did say this. He did say this, Dave.
Great, so let's fucking kill him. Let's throw the whole fucking thing out. Let's wreck the entire thing. And throw it out because that's never going to do anything. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Where you have one person that says one thing in a longer 2.5 hour long show, and then you take this 10-second clip and then throw the whole fucking thing out.
This is such nonsense black and white thinking. I preface this whole thing by saying, I hope Nick Fuentes succeeds. I hope he succeeds. I hope he does what we want him to do, that he continues to be the representative of the movement and of our actual interests. That is what I hope. I never said that we should throw the baby out with the bathwater, or that Nick is not useful to the movement, or that he hasn't done good work. The idea...
No, so we're just going to sit here like a bunch of Zionist Jews and criticize the one fucking guy.
I'm not finished, and you're going to sit there and be quiet until I'm done. You need to get your anger under control here, all right? The idea that one criticism levied at him is some sort of attack on him as a person, as part of the movement, it's not what I'm saying. We have to develop nuanced opinions about this because we all want, for the most part, the same thing. What we're having now is growing pains within the movement because we cannot decide if this is an ethno-nationalist movement or if this is a multiracial Catholic movement. And that is the issue. That is the heart of the issue. This is why you are crashing out, Dave.
I'm not crashing out.
You're crashing out.
We're just not part of the same movement. That's it.
That's insane.
I'm part of the movement that is going to put America first and free America of Israeli Zionist control. That's all that matters.
Do you
That
care
is all that
about?
matters.
Do you care about white people in other places in the world?
Right now, no. I care about America.
That's an insane
What
position.
can I possibly do in Ireland?
That's how I feel about America, though. What can I do in America?
I don't know. You could fucking vote.
Do you think it would have made a difference? Do you think that
Yeah.
if I got out there and told everybody, oh, Guggen is insane, everybody shouldn't, I don't think it really would have made a difference. Coeur d'Alene, it's kind of gone to the wolves. I guess we can vote. We can see if things are going to get better, but we're so deeply infiltrated. How much does it really matter? Post Falls was going to be fine.
No, it wasn't. The Zionists were coming after Post Falls.
Post Falls is considerably more conservative than Coeur d'Alene.
No, it's the same amount of people. Only 8% turned out in Coeur d'Alene. 8%. 8% turned out.
In Coeur d'Alene, 28% turned out.
No, you're wrong. I have the numbers right here.
Okay.
There are 37,800 registered voters in Coeur d'Alene. Dan Guggen got 3,265. 8.6%.
Yeah, okay. 8% came out and voted. What do you want? This isn't my fault because I didn't vote.
I'm not saying it's your fault.
You
I'm just
literally
saying,
just said this is my fault
I'm
because
saying
I
that
didn't
you're
vote.
not offering any solutions. Nick Fuentes is the only person that has any solution that
Arval
is going.
has solutions.
No,
That's
bullshit.
not true.
Arval's solution is to go fucking hide in the woods.
No, he's talking about creating communities of like-minded people.
Do
That
what?
is a solution.
To do what? To have kids, and then in 50 years? Something's going to happen? Bullshit. If we're all in agreement that white America is in an existential crisis and something has to be done right now, Nick Fuentes is the only one that is offering any kind of solution, anything positive for anyone to go do. Arval's solution is to do white flight, flee the cities, and go hide in the woods. And build a community and insulate and isolate. He's doing the Rob Dreher Benedict option bullshit.
I'm not going to be put in a position where we have somebody in the movement that I cannot criticize even mildly without getting Groyper crash outs like this. This is insane.
Black-pilled is milking bees.
This is an insane reaction to a tepid opinion that I had about Nick Fuentes. And this is the Groyper reaction. It's like so crazy and over the top emotional. Like Nick's reaction to Arval. All Arval did was DM him and ask him a question. He's like, you're dead to me. You're dead to me. It's like, can we all have a nuanced discussion about what our movement means without fucking crashing out? It's insanity. It's insanity. Dave.
Well, look, listen, guys. I understand the passion, and it's good passion, right? It's needed because there's a lot of energy right now, and that's a good thing. I think there are bigger forces at work here, right? That's something I've talked about from the beginning of the podcast. I do not believe that what's going to solve our problems is democracy. I don't think what's going to solve our problems is some kind of political movement. But at the same time, we do have to take some sort of political action. And Dave is correct that political action over the last several years has been centered in the Groyper movement. I think that that's a fair statement to make. However, that is not the only thing that is going on. There are other things that we've got to consider. We've talked about a banking crisis. We've talked about the economy. We're going into a very different political environment right now, and all manner of change is going to happen. You're going to see new people emerge. So I don't think that we live or die based on what this particular character is saying. That being said, nobody here is disavowing, right? We're not saying that this movement or that this political organization is invalid. Nobody's saying that. What we're trying to do, I suppose, is just keep us on track and make sure that those boilerplates are there. And foundational to all of it is the idea that we have to restore the white demographics control and balance of the country. Abandoning that mantra, and I'm not saying that that's what he's arguing, although I have questions after seeing that excerpt, that must be maintained. because without that, there is no America. You cannot have an America first if you can't define what the United States is all about. And if you take us out, if you take the white population that founded and built the country, that speaks English, that practices Christianity, right? Whether it's Protestantism or Catholicism or what have you, there is no America. And these succeeding generations of immigrants from other countries, they're not a part of that. They don't know anything about it whatsoever. We've got to stand strong on this particular issue. And as I said, I'm not saying he's moved off it, but that clip raised some questions, and others had them too.
And we are responsible for keeping our leadership on track. If we have principal differences with somebody, then it is fine for us to be like, why do you think this? Is this what you're saying? And that's all anybody was doing, asking questions. That's all I was doing. I don't need to be like dead to Nick Fuentes. Or you suggested that I think we should kill him. Like, I'm not saying any of the shit. I like Nick. He's highly charismatic. He's the greatest orator of our time. He's done a lot of really good work. He's sacrificed greatly for the movement. I want to see him represent our interests because he may be the only person that can do it at this point in time. But that is why people are being hard on him. And that is an acceptable way to prime your leadership, to keep your leadership accountable, because we have all sacrificed. All of us have sacrificed. You're not the only one, Dave. I have sacrificed. Nick has sacrificed. All of us have sacrificed for this movement. And we want to see it on track. We want to see it to continue to represent our interests. And that clip made me concerned that it is diverging with my vision for the movement and what I think other ethno-nationalist vision for the movement is as well. And I think that some of these concerns are warranted. And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that. I shouldn't have to be afraid that people are going to ruin my life because I asked some questions. I just asked some questions. I mean, good Lord, I want the nuance back. We should be able to talk about these things.
Yeah, the other thing, too, is if you go back and you look at what Ben Shapiro said and you examine it in detail, what all of them want to destroy is ethno-nationalism. And they want to destroy that because they fear it, because they recognize its power. And that's the secret elixir that we've got to tap into. Now, I know others, I know people that think orthodoxy is a solution or Catholic nationalism or what have you. And I do think those things have merit and they are part of the discussion that we have. But none of that can exist if you take away the ethno-nationalism that built the United States. You take that away, there is no movement. There is no opposition. We might as well call ourselves a poor, bastardized Republican Party, and we've all seen what that's produced. So I think what Rebecca's saying makes sense to me. We've just got to keep on track and maintain what has been built largely by Fuentes over the last 5 to 10 years.
Right.
That's crucial.
And there's a fundamental disagreement here about whether or not we need the masses to succeed or we need a very competent vanguard. And I am in the camp that we need a very competent vanguard. If we do big tent conservatism, even if it is anti-Zionist, that doesn't ensure success because the movement is already necessarily infiltrated by minority interests. So where are we going to be?
Who's pushing for Big Tent conservatism?
I think that Nick is obviously pushing.
No, he's pushing for Big Tent America Firstism, which is totally different.
Okay, how is that different?
It's different because it's about putting America first. Big Tent conservatism is exactly what Ben Shapiro was talking about. We built this movement. This is our conservative movement. It's our Republican Party, blah, blah, blah. That's Big Tent conservatism. Big Tent America Firstism is fuck you, get out of our country.
A bunch of minorities being like, fuck you, get out of our country.
Is there another way?
What is the demographic breakdown that you would find acceptable? What is the lowest number of white percentage-wise in the America First movement that you would find acceptable?
It doesn't matter what the percentage is in the America First movement. I mean, we've talked about what the percentage is in like an actual area, and it's about 14%.
So let's say that the America First movement mirrors the national identity demographically, and it is...
Which is what that was. I mean, it was traditionally about 13% black.
White.
Now it is, yeah.
The America First movement is 60. Let's say that it's 61%. Is that acceptable to you?
It's overwhelmingly way more white than that. If you've ever been to a AFPAC, if you've ever been to a Fuentes rally.
This is a hypothetical. What is the lowest threshold that you would find acceptable in an America First movement for white white inclusion?
If any movement out there that was for Jesus Christ, for America, and against Israel, I don't care what the demographic population is. It's about being right. It's about doing the right thing, period.
But these people are going to have tribalistic self-interests.
Sure they are.
Then they don't represent my interests, and I can't be a part of that
Our
movement.
interests are putting America first and getting rid of Israeli interests.
My interests are getting rid of Israeli interests and putting white people first, internationally.
Sure. Well, again, we're still stuck at the first part of that, which is getting rid of the Zionist control of America.
Yeah, fine.
So
but
then
we disagree
we can fight
on how
after
to do that. We disagree on how to do that. And like, I'm going to need some assurances that we're going to clean up the movement after getting rid of Zionist control. Like, what's going to happen here? America first gets rid of Zionist control in the government. And then they're like, oh, all you black people and minorities, GTFO out of the movement. That's not how things work. Once power is taken by any group, it is never given back. He's not going to be able to reshape and reimagine America first once this takes off in a multi-ethnic fashion. It's just never going to happen. And like,
but his whole messaging isn't about his whole thing has been against for years. He has railed against the idea of the multi-ethnic working class civic populism.
Then why is he
hundreds of
saying that he
hours of
doesn't
streaming
care?
against it.
He doesn't care about somebody's demographic situation if they're America first.
Because right now, that's all that fucking matters. Right now, all that matters is making America American again, making America working for its interests again, putting America first. That's all that matters
But
right now.
making America American again means making it white again.
And that's going to be a big part of this, deporting 25, 50 million people.
Is Nick Fuentes and his movement, is he going to help make America white again?
Yeah, he's going to be, if he were like president or whatever the fuck, but that's not even where we're at, which is again why this whole conversation and argument is so fucking stupid right now, because we're not even there yet. You're like, if Nick Fuentes was president, is he going to deport the illegals? Is he going to deport the browns and the nons? Like, can we please just get to the point where our country isn't controlled by Josh Hammer, Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin,
I totally
Randy
disagree.
Fine.
The first thing when you have a fledgling business is you write a comprehensive business plan. That's what needs to be done with movements. That's why we're having this argument right now, because nobody can agree on what the tenets of this movement are. Laying these out is of the utmost importance. Cameron, can you get in there?
Well, I do agree with Dave in the sense that, we are in a state of becoming, and that is going to evolve and change over time. There's no question about that. And who knows where we're going to be in a few years. Look, as much as we like to talk about these sorts of issues, it is frustrating. And it is frustrating because at the moment, these conversations are being had a lot online on various podcasts. In fact, I was just talking to somebody that watches our show about that. And he said, everybody's talking about Zionism now. Everybody's talking about the Israel lobby. Everybody's talking about immigration, a lot of the things that we talk about. But the question becomes, what are we going to do about that? When does this translate into real action? Now, what I think, which is somewhat different from you guys, to be sure, in part because I'm not a politico. You guys are politicos. And so your frame of reference are all things political, not necessarily just voting, but what happens in social media, what happens on Twitter, things of that nature. And that's not insignificant, but it's not decisive. I started my career when I worked in tech for about 6 years. I started my career in sales. And in sales, and I did it the hard way. I worked cold calling via telephone. It was awful. I don't know if you guys have ever had to do that. It's absolutely horrible. And the first 3 months were particularly brutal. I did it about 4 to 6 hours a day. So it's not like I was doing it 10 or 12, but 4 to 6 hours a day, just going through a phone book and trying to find clients. Not fun. And the first 90 days or so were particularly bad. I used to go out to my car and I would spend maybe 20 minutes screaming at the top of my lungs because it was so brutal. After that first 90 days, I started to break through and I started to understand the dynamics of selling people, of cold calling itself. And yeah, certainly rapport was part of it, connecting with people, maybe finding indirectly something that you could relate to them with, what have you, whatever. In any case, I did that and I became very successful as a salesperson, but I hated it. And I hated it because ultimately what you do in sales, as I'm sure many people in our audience know, is you have to sell a dream. You have to sell the sizzle, right? You have to create a marketing program and draw people in. And I never particularly liked that because I didn't find it all that substantive, one. But two, what I quickly discovered in tech was that the sales pitch was always more than a few degrees off from actual delivery, from the actual product itself. So about a year or so after I started, I got into the delivery side. So typically there's a sales side where you actually have to sell the product, you have to grow a client base. And then eventually people like me, we went to a delivery side where you actually implement the product. And this can be quite extensive, but there's always a handoff after the sales process that goes to delivery. And when I took over projects as an implementer, the first thing that you do is you meet with the client and you go through this process of truth telling. So everything that was pitched during the sales process is then thrown into sharp relief. And now you get down to brass tacks. And it's usually an ugly, uncomfortable conversation because more often than not, the salespeople sold the dream and it was a lot of bullshit. It just wasn't factual. It wasn't accurate to what the product actually was. It did whatever the client wanted is what it did. And it came to me and my delivery team, and I had to say, look, man, it doesn't actually do those things. Here's what it does do. And when we had those conversations, and however ugly they may have been, from that moment forward, all of a sudden things started to change because the fictitiousness, the fantasy of the sales product, that was over. That story died. And then a new reality that was based in foundational truth, ugly truth in many cases, all of a sudden that was the rock bottom foundation to build everything. And I started with a couple projects, then 10, then 15, all of it because of that truth telling. We are at a moment in time now where the sales team, which has been operating for the last 5 to 10 years, which has been evangelizing a lot of the ideas that we discuss, those ideas are attractive. They're drawing crowds, right? They're entertaining. That's why people watch a lot of these shows. But they're not delivering any results yet. And they're not delivering any results because as bad as things are, people have got to choke on the truth. They've got to choke on diversity to demand that shit actually happens. And that's when the implementation team that's actually going to save this country, I call it the reconstruction team, that's when they're going to show up. And I don't think we're all that far removed from that moment. But I say all of that to say this. What's happened over the last 5 to 10 years is not insignificant. It's been preparation for what is to come. But the people that are going to implement these changes, they're going to be very different. They're going to be no bullshit truth tellers when the population is ready to hear it and get the job done. What we have to do is hold the feet to the fire and say, look, these are the facts of the matter. These are the things that must be done. Because if they're not done, this country is not going to be saved. And one of those, obviously, is ethno-nationalism. And that's why this is an important conversation to have now. But I do think, inevitably, one way or the other, that's where we're headed. We are headed towards that delivery, towards that implementation team when the population is finally ready for ground zero truth. We're not there yet. I think we're going to get there.
But can we heal this divide between ethno-nationalists and groypers? I mean, we have to, or we're not going to have individual numbers to.
If Dave is right, there is no divide. Well, and maybe he's right.
Well, here's what I would say, right? And what I would say is that you need to get off your ass and go do something. And one of the things, I did a podcast I think I released it on Sunday, talking about there's the upcoming primary. We're all looking at 26, 28, these different like electoral landmarks or whatever. But there is a primary election between now and then. And I think that primary election is a lot more consequential than people know, because most people are totally tuned out. They don't understand how the Republican Party works. And if you are listening to this show and you want to put your people first, you want to put your country first, and you want to actually see something happen in America that's different than what's been happening, then you should be getting involved and running for a precinct committee spot in the Republican Party. 30 to 40% of all of these precinct committee seats across the country are vacant. Nobody is in them. You can just get appointed. You don't even have to wait for the election. You can just go get appointed. That's number one. Number two, we have a very different demographic than Nick has. We have 25 to 45 male. That's our demographic, right? Nick's demographic is 16 to 25. Mm-hmm. I mean, I did a thing the other day where I went to the gym and I took my phone and I put it up on the sauna so I could watch Nick's show. And a bunch, like 4 young kids came in from the local school. They were in the football team or whatever. And they all looked at the phone, and then they all looked at each other trying to figure out whose phone it was. And then they saw me with my earpods in. And it's like, oh, hello. And they all were on board, all of them. And I've been doing this more and more in public, and it is clear. I'm getting text messages from grandmothers and people with kids that are saying, my son is now watching Nick Fuentes, and this has happened within the last 2 months. And so those kids have a very special role to play in the future. They need to not burn themselves now. They need to, they do need to do a little hiding their power levels. They need to be involved in this infiltration of the institution. And at the same time, our demographic, 25 to 45, needs to be getting involved in the Republican parties and turning it into a party that isn't going to cancel these kids because they talk like a Call of Duty lobby, because they're talking like we talk on Twitter, right? So, and this goes back to this, my theory that it's everything all the time, everywhere. There is no silver bullet. There is no perfect way that we're going to win. There is no one strategy that's going to deliver American liberation to the people. We have to be doing everything all at once. So if Orville wants to do a Sing in the Woods, fine. If Black Pill wants to educate people about how the Jews wrote all of the Christmas songs, great. Nick is going to infiltrate the institutions, and I think that we need to be infiltrating the Republican Party, running for precinct seats, running for county commissioner, running for all of these local seats, and getting involved in generating a machine to put our country first. Because for the first time since maybe Charles Lindbergh, people are finally aware of what is going on in this country. They are becoming aware of the ethnic displacement of white people, and they are becoming aware of Jewish nepotism, Jewish power, and the control that the Israeli lobby has over the government. Now is the time to strike.
Yeah, Black Pill has clearly contributed to that revelation amongst the youth.
Yeah.
He doesn't just write, I reject this mischaracterization of Black Pill. He doesn't just write about like Jewish Christmas songs. He does in-depth
it was
analysis.
So good. That was a really good video.
He's done excellent work in the movement for as long as I can remember. He was the person that got me into this, not Fuentes, Black Pilled. And I'm sure that many of you guys agree. Wow, donations are rolling in. We should get in really awful fights more often. We actually had a pre-production meeting and we were like, are we not going to talk? Because we were fighting then too. We're like, are we not going to talk about this? And I was like, oh, we're fucking talking about it. We're going to I was like, just bring it out on air. So this is, partially of my creating. And just for the audience, we'll just get over this immediately after the show and it'll be normal.
But we should be doing something. I mean, we can prep, we can get our food, get married, have kids, educate them, raise them, love them, teach them to love their people, but also there's still something more, because I'm prepped, yeah. I've got guns, I've got kids, I'm educating them. Now what? What next? And what next is this bullshit happening in Coeur d'Alene with Dan Gukin and these freaks from the local Zionist church that are running roughshod over everybody. And I swear to God, over the next 4 years, they are going to go and exhume Richard Butler's body, put him on a truck with a Nazi flag, and start fucking parading him up and down Sherman Avenue. I swear to God, that's what's about to happen.
That would be really,
it's
really funny.
It's going to be asinine, but ultimately, it'll be good for us because we're going to be able to, hey, look what these idiots are doing.
Yeah.
And
I think something that we can all agree on.
Listen,
oh, go ahead, Karen.
the national debt grew by $500 billion in a month. We're adding, I looked at this today, $23 billion per day for the national debt. At the same time that this is happening, there is, I think, the specter of a very serious banking crisis that is happening not just in the shadow banks. So these are the non-depository financial institutions, right? So the unregulated lenders that are really getting money from the big banks anyway. They're starting to experience liquidations, defaults, bankruptcies. Then there's problems in commercial real estate. We know about the buy now, pay later. We know most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. We know that there's a government shutdown and there's some 40 to 50 million people that are dependent on the federal government for food stamps. At the same time, we are actively fighting proxy wars all over the world. We're fighting in Venezuela. We're fighting in the Middle East, obviously, because of the Israeli lobby and the Zionist control of the government, as Dave said a moment ago. We're still engaged in this proxy war against Russia in Ukraine, a war that's seen millions of people killed or displaced. We haven't seen anything like that since World War II. At the same time, we've got tens of millions of illegal immigrants in this country that are organizing themselves politically, that are challenging federal law and federal law enforcement, and doing so violently. And they're being encouraged, they're being spurred on by local mayors. And we just saw this guy, Mamdani, in New York City, who was elected. And I have heard anecdotally, Dave, you can correct me if I'm wrong, some 20 to 30% of the constituents that voted for him were Jews.
Correct.
I don't know if it was 20 to 30% of his coalition or 20 to 30% of the Jewish vote in New York City. The Jewish vote in New York City is decisive. And they voted essentially against their own interests for their own self-destruction. And look, this is a great thing because this is going to push New York City as a municipal metropolitan government that's already bankrupt. It's going to push it right over the edge. Okay. And then you're going to start to see handouts from the federal government. And then you're going to start seeing the federal government ask one state to bail out another. The whole thing is a cluster fuck. It's a mess. This is an emergency environment. It really is. Don't take my word for it. Ask your neighbor what his economic prospects are, how his marriage is. Things are a total mess. And that means we do have to take action. But I think we need a new party. We need to reimagine our politics in such a way that marries a lot of these things that are not ordinarily considered political. You guys have tremendous influence on Twitter, on the podcast. You're not running for office. That is instructive. That suggests, yeah, there is a groundswell. But there's also a realization, as we heard earlier from Ben Shapiro, that these institutions, they don't need to be taken over necessarily. What they need to do is collapse in and of themselves, and we need to build new things. So you're 100% right, Dave. We can't just sit around and fritter about waiting for the end of the world. We've got to build new shit. And one of the things I like about Dave in particular is that he is always active. He's a busybody participating in this process. And that's exactly what you should be doing. This podcast is an effort to do exactly that. It is a staging ground. And guess what, folks? This isn't just politics. We have people that connect with us for economic reasons. I know because Rebecca has told me people have met their spouses in these communities. There's a lot going on right now, and it's about to kick into gear because shit is falling apart and it's accelerating. That's why the Jews are out in force, because they know they're losing control of a very dangerous situation.
That's true. And that is the most positive development is this Jewish crash out, which is why we talked about the Jewish Coalition for so long.
I'm still waiting. Alan Dershowitz promised to blow his brains out if Mamdani won. I'm like waiting patiently.
Was he Mr. Foot Rub? Or was that Matt
I didn't
Groening?
take off my underwear. But really, look at this. Look at this. It's like, these are the options we've got.
Yeah.
You got Alex Soros and Netanyahu. Well, you know, there's a part of me that's like, fuck Netanyahu, let's go with Soros. But
yeah, really.
they both suck, you know.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I with the Mamdani thing, I'm feeling a little bit better than holy shit, 6 phone calls. Who's calling?
Who are they from? Is it your wife?
One was from Jake Shields, so I'm like, But with this Mamdani thing that's going on, and let me do this twofold. Because it's the same historical example I'm going to go to. And I'm going to get in trouble for it, but I don't really give a shit.
It's going to be controversial.
My boy Mussolini, okay? I'm Italian, I know. I've got a little bit of an affinity for the old world, I do. And when you look at the critique of Nick, he says one thing this week and one thing that week. Mussolini wanted to kill the king and he was an anarchist for years. And then all of a sudden, when shit started falling apart in Italy, the wealthy factory owners came to Mussolini and were like, these communists are going to fucking kill me, take my money and prevent me from dying. And then Mussolini and fascism became what we know of it today. So there's an angle of it where things are going to be fluid. Things are going to, bang around a little bit until we actually gain power. The whole point of this is to get power. It doesn't matter what the platform is. It doesn't matter what you have to say to get the power. You need to get the power and then wield it to make America again. And so, with that, at the same time, with what's going on in New York with Mamdani, New York has to fall. New York has to go through this process of electing a, whatever you want to call him, Islamic jihadist, blah, 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 whatever. And hopefully New York will become a much worse place to live.
Oh, yeah. Well, it will.
Which will wake people up, which will hopefully spurn a new candidate on who is not going to be Andrew fucking Cuomo. Was it Andrew or Chris Cuomo? I don't remember.
I remember, and I'm sure you guys do too. I remember when Obama was elected. It was a big deal. It was the first black president. And at the time, as he was running for office, there were more than a few people, political experts in particular, that said, look, it doesn't matter that the polls show that Obama's in the lead or that he's ahead, because the reality is that when the majority of the population goes into the voting booth, they're going to vote their racist way. They're going to vote against him, and therefore we're not going to have the first black president. A lot of people said that. And then all of a sudden he was elected. And what was not mentioned in that clip earlier about fifth generational warfare on the Jimmy Dore show was that the Tea Party, out of nowhere, overnight, and it wasn't the banking crisis per se, it wasn't the bailouts per se. Those things absolutely were important, and they did instigate. But what put the Tea Party over the edge was the election of Barack Obama. Because when Obama came in, that was the canary in the coal mine. That changed our politics fundamentally, and it conveyed to the boomers, those that had woken up, that they had completely lost the United States. That we, despite having a thin majority, could no longer control electorally who was elected president. It was a shell shock. It was. And I remember at the time, a lot of the boomers didn't believe it. They couldn't imagine it. And it happened anyway. But the fallout from that was not what a lot of people said. At the time, people said, now we're entering a post-racial America. The Republican Party is finished. It's a regional party. It's not a national party. You probably remember this, Dave. People said that the right wing in this country is done. It's over. And what happened is the exact opposite. All of a sudden, we reinvented ourselves. We created a new kind of party. And within two election cycles, two presidential election cycles of Barack Obama, who do you get? Yep. You get Donald Trump.
Right.
So that suggests to me that we are on the cusp of a major inversion. And bear in mind that a lot of the energy that you're experiencing from us on this podcast is because Donald Trump is a fraud who did not fulfill his mandate to restore the demographic balance and control of the country. That's what this is all about.
Yep, I totally agree. And before we get to super chats, I want to mention that the reason that we're doing this podcast is that none of us are truly black-pilled. Why would we bother? Why would we bother trying to reach people? Why would we bother trying to reach young people? All of us really care about that. We just have disagreements about how best to get there. I mean, I believe in a future for white people. I really do. And I feel very optimistic. I mean, I never in my lifetime thought I would see people openly talking about the Jews. Ever. I never thought I would see this. And watching this has been really, really refreshing, which is why I'm defensive, because I don't want to take a misstep right now. It seems like it is an imperative time to do everything correctly. And we're going to make mistakes and everything like that. But I just want us to be very careful about the way that we move forward. And that's what this is about. That's why we're fighting. That's why
my last 2 cents that I will drop into
I quit.
Right? Just fold the computer up and walk out.
No, I don't know how to stop the stream. Don't do that.
But to Cameron's point, this idea of rebirth and change and this becoming, the reason why I'm so adamant about it is because I don't hear anybody talking about it. I don't hear anybody talking about a means to do this. And I agree with you. Most of America agrees with you. 68% of this country agrees that the Republican Party and the Democrat Party no longer serve them, right? That is beyond question, that people believe that a third party is the answer. As a political guy, as somebody who has experience running for office, political consulting, I'm just here to tell you that is damn near impossible. It is next to impossible to get ballot access. It costs hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to get a new party on the books. What you can do, however, is take over a party that already has ballot access. The number one target for this campaign should be the Republican Party at the precinct committee levels. And that is going to be happening all throughout the next coming months, starting in maybe January or February with these primaries, and then concluding in March. So that's where I think we need to be laser focused, because I do, as a political consultant, see the ability for our people to go in and take these seats with the arguments that we have, with what everybody has seen over the last 2 or 3 years. I think that there is a chance to rebuild the Republican Party in our image and likeness. Not in the Jewish image and likeness, not in Zionist AIPAC image and likeness, not in multiracial, multicultural, whatever, in America First's image and likeness. That's what I see. I see the talking points, they work. I spent 5 hours on the phone, and those talking points work. People respond positively to that. And so I see this option, this third way of not white flight, not creating a new party, but revolution in the Republican Party. I think that's the best option for the next 6 months that I think we should all be laser focused on. That's just my 2 cents. I see that as actionable, as opposed to the amount of signatures that you need to get to establish a new party. Like right now, this Party for Socialism and Liberation is down in Boise with their fingers up their ass, they're trying to do that. And guess what? It's not going very well for them. They're not going to get ballot access. They're not going to establish a real party. The Democrat and Republican Party are still going to be on the books. Now, there is a Constitution Party in Idaho that's very small and could be taken over, but they are divorced from the national party apparatus of the Constitution Party anyway. And I think they only have ballot access in like 28 states anyway.
Well, we should be trying everything, shouldn't we?
And so keep it
on. The other thing is, look, we're in a very different environment now. And that's what I've tried to stress. And I know that that's not very popular because people want something that's concrete. And I keep saying, look, you're going to see mass mobilization. And there's an example that I think is instructive for us in the United States happening in the UK. There's a guy named Rupert Lowe, and Rupert Lowe was thrown out of the Reform Party by Nigel Farage, who's basically a fraud. Our audience from England knows that. And I'm not saying Rupert Lowe is necessarily the answer over there. However, what Rupert Lowe has tried to build is what's called Restore UK. And Restore UK is a movement outside of the political system. And you've heard me talk about this before. Effectively, you already have a new party in the United States. You have the Groypers. That is a party. It is. Now, it doesn't have ballot access, and some of the mechanics you mentioned, Dave, they're crucial, no question about it. But these kinds of things do already exist. And really what you need is a staging ground for organization, a platform, and leadership. That's all you really need. And if we get into an environment in which all of a sudden the government itself sort of implodes. And this is what I think is going to happen. I really do. I know a lot of you are convinced that that's impossible, that we can always print money. Look, a lot of my expertise comes from the financial sector. And that's one of the reasons why we talk about it on this show. I know a lot of you find it as about as interesting as watching the paint dry. But I'm telling you, there is a financial bomb, an atomic bomb of financial destruction that's coming. And that will destroy the full faith and credit of the U.S. government. And that may preclude politics. It may necessitate something that stands above it, something that's organized outside of it. Either way, however it unfolds, Dave is quite right that you want to take action. That is the key.
By the way, Brian, if you want me to say your name on the stream, can you send a super chat, asshole?
But is it somebody from the live chat?
No, it's a friend of mine. He's texting me. He's like, say my name on stream. I'm like,
send us some money.
Send us money and I'll say your name on stream, Brian.
Let's get to some super chats.
Hold on. Before we do the super chats, there is a financial crisis in this country. You've got to be prepared. Atlas Bullion can help you do that. They sell gold and silver. They are one of the best dealers to do it with. They support our program and they support our people. So please check out atlasbullion.com/backlash if you'd like to buy gold or silver. And we've got to give a big shout out to Antelope Hill Publishing, who is fighting to keep history alive and equipping new generations of dissidents with the information to fight anti-white hatred and the regime. Their varied catalog includes newly updated and expanded third edition of Dr. Kevin MacDonald's Culture of Critique, the essential modern text on Jewish identity. Also, Dr. Ricardo Duchesne's magnum opus, Greatness in Ruin, the definitive scholarly examination of European exceptionalism, as well as works by Kerry Bolton, Paul Kersey, and Josh Neal. Antelope Hill recently bought David Irving's iconic Nuremberg, The Last Battle into print and have numerous translations of historical works from eras such as Fascist Italy, National Socialist Germany, Civil War Spain, previously unavailable in English. There are also plenty of books on contemporary issues such as transgenderism, the opioid crisis, and Christian nationalism, as well as history books, novels, and children's books. So whatever your interest is, you're bound to find something that you like at Antelope Hill. All professionally published with sleek, modern cover art. Help us and help our people by checking out companies that share our values and fight for our cause. Visit Antelope Hill Publishing today.
I forgot to mention, and now I feel like I bait and switched everybody, but on Wednesdays, we only read $10 and up. I should have mentioned that. I apologize.
True.
The show is just too long.
What's today's date?
Today is November 5th.
November, the 5th of November. The gunpowder treason and plot. I know of no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot.
See, guys, Dave feels better. This was like a therapy session.
This was good.
It's like he took a big dump and now he feels, look, all the levity has returned to his face.
No. Logan Orr sent $10. First chat in like 9 months since becoming unemployed. Finally got a new job. The G-ification of the entire job market is absolutely insane. Dropped a hard R at the new job. They loved it. Bro, be careful.
No,
careful.
Logan's the best.
Don't lose your job. We need you out there, buddy. Stoic North sent $10. Will any of you be appearing on Millennial this year? And is Vincent ever coming back for an appearance on the show?
Vince will be coming back for an appearance on the show. And yes, Cameron is going to be on Millennial.
Not just Cameron.
Are you too?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Are you guys separate or together?
I think we're separate. Oh. I'm not sure. I should actually check my DMs.
Do you have to ask, Rebecca?
Yes, I do. I do have to ask.
Vince is coming back as soon as his hair transplant is complete.
Yeah.
Bro,
he's been in Turkey for the last 6 weeks.
We are going to read this. We're breaking the $5 and up rule. I'm reading it. I have to. Cato Rising sent $5. Dave, your old friend Rob Black Anal Sex Smith got on X and blamed the Christian man for ruining the MAGA coalition of gay race conservatism. The chimp out is hilarious. Did you see this?
Yes, and see, this is why I'm worried. I just have PTSD from stuff like this, okay? I've been around a long time. We've been in this movement for 10 years,
I feel like unseen because he was like focusing on some incident that happened in 2022 where somebody called him an N-word. And
was he being an N-word?
Oh, of course he was. and not just, it was the N-word and the F-word coupled together in one word.
Well, was he being an N-word, F-word? Yeah.
Yes, he was. And I just feel very unseen right now because I confronted him in 2019, 3 years before that ever happened. And he just blocked me and pretends like that didn't happen. Rob Smith, I'm still here, asshole.
We're watching you.
We're watching you. We are
But they replaced him with another homosexual.
that guy that was on the beach
What
with
is
the
his
woman.
name? Xavier.
Xavier. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
N-word, F-word.
Michael Gerard 2 sent $10. The question is for Cameron, but I would like to hear everyone's opinion. Since republics are doomed to democracy, should America create a monarchy, at least if you know who's really in charge?
Can I go first on this one?
Go ahead.
Basil.
Go first.
Basil said something really interesting that I appreciated. That monarchy, was it Basil? Actually, I can't remember. But monarchy arises from aristocracy, and they're inextricably linked. There's no way to separate the two. And Americans, kind of uniquely, just don't have an aristocratic class, and we have nothing to return to.
Right.
Who was it that we saw that tweet from? Who said that he was the French?
Louis de Bourbon.
Yeah, who had the most perfect face I've ever seen. I'm like, yeah that guy, monarch,
guy.
cool. We've got nothing like that in America. I don't think we could institute a monarch even if we wanted to. I mean, we would have to develop some semblance of an aristocracy. I don't think we could do that really either. Cameron, go ahead.
Go ahead, Dave.
Well, I was just going to pull up this beautiful picture of Louis de Bourbon. I mean, he's got it going on.
Oh, totally.
He needs to restore the French monarchy.
Oh, yeah. By the way, I got an
fully
email
support that.
after I was talking about how handsome that guy is. I got an email from someone that was like, what would your husband say? I'm like, my husband would care 0%. 2 weeks ago, we saw top 10 hottest women I've ever seen in my life working in downtown Coeur d'Alene. My husband's like, I'm going to go inside and I'm going to check out this woman real quick. and he went into there to check her out and everything. And he's like, yeah, she's super hot. Got into the car. I swear to you, I felt nothing. Like no jealousy. We're just deep enough into the marriage that there's no chance of infidelity, and neither of us are jealous. You get married and you don't stop looking at other people's beauty. I wouldn't even want him to.
Yeah, I look away from women. I look down.
No, but it wasn't
I wear when I go to the gym, I have my hood up and I look really angry.
But I'm not lusting
because Dave's
after
got
this
wicked game with the ladies, man. That's why.
I can't even make eye contact with them. You got to wrestle them off.
Right.
No, but it's not
He's got that
lustful.
power.
You can look at this guy and be like, that guy looks like he was
Handsome.
carved for. That's a handsome man.
Handsome man.
And my husband wasn't being lustful either. He was just like, oh, she's a beautiful specimen. He's really spurgy. Really spurgy.
As far as the institution of a monarchy in America,
no chance.
No, I don't think that's ever going to happen. I don't know if there's some sort of war or battle or a real civil war, and there are actual heroes, folk heroes that are minted out of this conflict, then maybe there's a chance that person that is like a Charles Lindbergh type, where he was like a national folk hero, maybe something could have happened there. But no, I generally don't think. But when you speak theoretically about political systems, monarchy is the best. But we don't have that here. I don't think we're going to have that here. But at the same time, I do see a path forward for dictatorship, for fascism. Yeah. But that would be very different than monarchism. So
yeah, it would be better.
That's my take. Cameron?
Okay, the correct answer here is senatus ultimum. So if you go back to the Roman Republic, built into their constitution, they had a constitutional framework of government. There was a condition called senatus ultimum. And that condition was struck when there was an existential crisis to the Roman state, right? When the Roman Republic itself was facing imminent destruction, they would dissolve the Senate and they would appoint two proconsuls, one who reigned in Rome and the other who was the head of the army. This is sometimes associated with martial law or something of that nature, basically extra constitutional powers that concentrate executive authority in one particular person or party or group to solve an existential crisis. This is different than saying we need to change our structure of government, right? That we need to be anti-democratic. And often this frustrates a lot of people on the right because they don't know how to articulate exactly what they want, because nobody wants to live in a dictatorship per se. And even for the Romans, dictatorship was a temporary phenomenon. This is why Julius Caesar was killed before you had the rise of the Caesars. In any event, you need a temporary transitional government that concentrates power and executive authority to solve major problems. This has happened, by the way, in various forms throughout American history. Lincoln established extra constitutional powers at the time of his presidency. So did George Washington. So, and a lot of this is associated with the Insurrection Act, for example. Eisenhower did so in the 1950s after the Korean War, and obviously FDR did during World War II. These things have happened before. That's what's necessary to solve our problems. Now, tethered to that, we do need constitutional reform, and we need to overhaul it, in part because this country, and this is something a lot of people, particularly conservatives, don't understand. The reason why the United States succeeded as a nation, and I don't like the word experiment, the reason why it succeeded as a nation is because of you people listening to this podcast. It's because of the tremendous human capital, the energy, the dynamism, the self-governance of the population that settled the United States. That's what made us great. This is why we have the podcast. This is why we're ethno-nationalists, because there is no substitute for the white population that built everything. The Constitution, by contrast, was always kind of clunky, and it didn't really matter all that much because the government didn't do anything for most of our history until it had to do things. And it had to do things during emergencies like the World Wars, for example, or the Great Depression. We are now in a similar moment, and that's why conservatism has failed. It's why electing our way out of this problem is not going to work. It's a non-starter. We need extra constitutional authority that's on par with what the Romans had, called senatus ultimum, a dissolution of the legislative process temporarily to get things back on track. And I'll just give you one more thing here. Part of the issue in the United States has nothing to do with subversion. It's not all about Zionism or the Cuban lobby or what have you. A lot of it is that our systems of governance are obsolete. They need to be overhauled. They need to be modernized, like our infrastructure across the United States. All of these things have to feed into a visionary, revolutionary mass mobilization of the country. And I think that's what a financial crisis is going to enable. So the answer is, it's not a form of government per se that we need. We need a transitional authority that can effectively restore order and remake the whole country. That's what we've got to do. And I think that's what's going to happen, guys. I really do.
We've got $10 from Reinhardt. Dave, is it ankle biting when we criticize Trump for not deporting enough? Leaders deserve to be harshly criticized when they veer from the message that gained our support, especially when they are in power or closer to it. Yeah, but like, come on. We're talking about Nick, and talking about Nick within the context of like this week where they've been like declaring Jewish jihad on him at the Republican Jewish Congress.
Yeah, but talk about ankle biting. That's jihad. Randy Fine and like Mark Levin.
Is there like a word for Jewish jihad? They've got to have.
I'm sure they have.
They've got their thing.
But
I mean, we've seen it in Gaza.
It's like, they're like little Jewish chihuahuas. They're chihuahuas with yarmulkes on. And they're not to be taken seriously. And
at this point,
I only played that Randy Fine clip because it was so funny.
Bro, he's so stupid. It's
just like this big fat guy, like, whoa, the Jews have never done anything wrong.
He's going to get deported. When can we get how about what state is Randy Fine in?
I don't know.
I don't even know is he Florida? I think he's Florida. Well, I guess Florida's not going to do anything. But I mean, it would be nice to see maybe a state legislature. They could probably call in and subpoena. How nice would it be to subpoena Jim Risch or Mike Crapo and be like, you know what? We want to see whether or not you're a traitor and then convict them and hang them. That would be nice. Not that we're for that, but legally speaking, I think legislatures do have the power to do that. It'd be nice to see that happen to some of these traitors. Just saying. Robert sent $25. Can we just wait until our enemies are somewhat defeated before we continue this poorly timed infighting? In terms of the infiltration versus the hunker down and tribe up approach, are we incapable of doing both? No more brother wars. We love you guys. Well, thank you. I agree.
No, Dave and I are like siblings. My mom the other day was like, it's like you and David are Dave are squabbling siblings, and Cameron is just there to like be the dad. And that's true. It's,
That's good.
That's why you guys call me daddy. Yeah.
I know, right? I guarantee things are going to be fine after this.
Disavow.
Whatever. I heard you call him daddy yesterday. And it was an accident. And he was saying it sexually.
Stop it. Reinhardt sent $10. If Fuentes wants to be the leader of the Big Tent anti-Jewish movement, then fine, and some good will even come from that. But it's just not what I personally am looking for. If I'm going to support anyone, then it's contingent on them being white first.
White. I am with Reinhardt.
Reinhardt sent another $10. I've been estranged from family members over these issues, and I'm not going to stand behind a leader with less conviction than I. Listen, I don't think Nick has any less conviction than you. I do think that Nick may be tempering a little bit to attract a larger and larger audience as he is given this opportunity to finally speak to the masses. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that.
I don't know. I'm a little hurt. I know he hates me already because I'm a woman, because I've heard him say that on the show before.
E-girls, no e-girls.
No e-girls
Who's got
ever.
the clip? No e-girls ever.
I understand. Like, I get that. But my thing about loyalty, undying loyalty, is that it's got to work two ways. And I've been burned before with this Trump thing. I was really loyal to Donald Trump until my position became indefensible. And so I'm trying to be smarter about this time. And I'm like, I'm never going to do that with anybody ever again. I'm not just going to be blindly loyal.
There's something else here too, and this is really important. It's a life lesson for all of us, and it's a constant battle to some degree, but you have to know yourself, right? Know thyself, as the oracles at Delphi said. And what I mean by that is you have to know really what your core competency is. And I think part of the discussion that we had tonight was to say, look, this person and his movement, they had achieved something. And that's something, as you said, Dave, is significant. Stick to what got you there. Continue with that process and push it as far as you possibly can. And also know exactly sort of what it is that you are. Dave thinks that Fuentes is a sort of presidential kind of person. Maybe he is. I don't. I think he's what you see. I think he's a social media performer. Both are needed. Both are important, right? We all have our part to play. But if you watch a Tom Cruise movie and you think about Tom Cruise, what do you think of? You think of this dude running, right? You think of Tom Cruise basically as an action star because that's what he is. Tom Cruise wanted to be this indie movie actor, but that's not what he is. He's an action star that sprints in all of his movies. You have to be what you are. That's key.
We've got, this one's kind of harsh.
On who?
You. From Anonymous. Rebecca, you are the problem. I poured hours and days into volunteering for a better future for my kids, and you couldn't even bother to vote. Worse, you set that example for others. You are the problem, and now you're living with the consequences.
That's Dave from an anonymous account.
No,
sure.
it's not.
Dave's over here like,
bro, please, next time, put your fucking name on this.
I know for a fact that Dave gets 40% back when he super chats the show.
What?
I heard. When I think of Tom Cruise, look at this picture. I think about how the center of his teeth don't fit the center of his mouth.
Oh, you're right.
I can't stop looking at it the first time I noticed it.
Said no woman ever.
What?
You don't
He's
think
also
he's
5'6".
Huh?
Tom Cruise face. I've got to see this. I've got to put it
go
on
teeth.
screen.
Yeah, it's really weird. I was watching Maverick and I was like, why don't your teeth align with the center of your mouth?
Well, he's obviously a reptilian. That's pretty clear.
It's like a whole tooth length over.
It's like a half a tooth length over.
I don't know.
He never got that fixed.
I don't know. I don't
Can
know,
you
man.
use, little
Something's a little weird.
dentures or something?
A little weird. He is aging really well.
Crazy. Dan Zammit sent $30. She says, what can we do? Look what we've done. Look at how the people have been rallied. Nick literally caused Joe Kent to lose. True.
Yeah.
I don't understand how you can hold a black pill position. As long as Jews are around, though, it's a million times harder.
Who is holding a black? Oh, God.
I think
bless
he might have super chatted that before you said that.
Yeah, I'm not black pilled. I feel wildly optimistic.
I was feeling pretty optimistic yesterday.
Yeah, I would feel great.
Vessel sent $10. The idea of conceding the cities of my country is a defeat, and I resent and will not accept. The cities are ours by birthright, and moving to the country, even to a homogeneous commune, is retarded. Rather die trying than forfeit ground. They are our cities.
I'm sympathetic to both of these positions. I also think to some degree that people shouldn't leave the cities because proximity, because we forget when we live out here, because we talk about how I don't see a black person for weeks at a time. And I feel like there are no problems until Dave gives me this deluge of local government problems that I don't give a fuck about.
The city council last year tried to enact an ordinance that they would be able to give themselves emergency powers and kick us out of our homes.
Yeah, I know. Until Dave tells me about this stuff, I'm just walking down my white street like, la, 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 la. There are no problems. Everything's safe.
But you see how important Dave Riley is. And there are a lot of Dave Rileys out there. I'm not going to some town hall meeting. I'm not showing up to that.
I know. I
but
understand
Dave Riley, he'll be there.
But proximity to minorities and minority crime in cities is so acutely radicalizing. Yeah. And that's going to be really important.
It's a good thing.
And
That's
it is a good thing. Even knowing what I know, sometimes I feel like all is right in the world.
This is also something like a critique of the traditionalist Catholic position as well, where, granted, we got kind of thrown out of the church after Vatican II, but at the same time, there's this kind of defeatist mentality of like, not showing up when the bishop, does a traditional Latin mass. You should show up and donate. Mm-hmm. Tell him that you like it, as opposed to surrendering the institutions to all of these dumb hippie commies. And so when it comes to the white flight thing, I definitely agree with that. Dan Zamet sent $5.
Oh
yes,
my God.
Was absolutely.
No, $10 and up. Dan Zamet.
All right. Publicly stupid to go against Nick.
Get out
of here.
No, we have rules because we're white.
Michael Gerard too sent $10. You guys need to copy Lenin. He spelled it Lenin, like John Lennon. It's Lennin. The normie masses are almost impossible to lead toward a revolutionary aim. There needs to be a white ethno-nationalist vanguard of the proletariat. Voting can be rigged. True. Are you suggesting that we rig the voting?
That'd be awesome.
Okay.
You don't need, again, we've talked about this, and I think we're all on the same page on this one, but the normies are irrelevant. They don't matter. Yeah, I was talking to somebody about this, I want to say last week. We were talking about the 1960s. And I said, last I checked, if you go back to the 1960s, a decade later, white America didn't just wake up and say, you know what, I support all the progressive policies. That never happened. It was always a small minority of people. Some would call it a vanguard. Some would call it subversion, whatever. They pushed this whole country in a completely different direction, off track, as we well know. If it can be pushed off track by a small minority, it can be pushed back on track by a small minority.
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
Sorry, for a second, this popped up on screen and I was like, oh, Norm Macdonald and Tom Cruise?
What happened?
No, that's just Tom Cruise.
Now?
Those are both Tom Cruise.
Oh. Which one's more recent?
I don't know, but that guy, he looks like Norm Macdonald in that, and I can't unsee it. And
He's
it's
really
freaking
dead
me out.
in the eyes. It's
I'm
the
reading the
Scientology.
$5 super chats. We got a couple. Dan Zamet sent like a couple of $5 super chats. That totals up to $10. Quote, I just asked some questions. No, you took a cheap shot on our actual greatest ally in our time of need.
I'm not allowed to disagree with him. That's a retarded position that we would never uphold for anybody else. This is like mega tard stuff. Like, oh, you can't levy any criticism against Donald Trump because he's our savior. We've been here before. Did you people learn nothing? Mm-mm. People they're fallible. They fail you.
But Nick hasn't failed.
You have to keep your wits about you and treat every leader with a modicum, at least, of skepticism.
You people need charity. You need to look at what he says charitably.
Nick
You're
has
like,
said,
the
Nick
point
has
is
said
that they're
on
looking
his
at him.
channel, I don't like that woman. Talking about me. I have been charitable as fuck. And I still like him. I still think he's charming and adorable and he's an excellent orator. And I've given him all this charity. I disagree with this one thing that he says and suddenly like, I want to kill him or whatever. You guys all need to get it together.
Do you want to get a content strike?
Get it together.
I love this clip.
I'm going to have such weird dreams. Are we going to get a content strike?
Oh, definitely.
Hey, wonder if I can see the N-word. Wait, can I really see the N-word? What up, my nigga? What up, my nigga? Big ups, my nigga. We are my nigga. You pussy ass nigga. Man, fuck y'all niggas. Cause I'm that nigga.
His AI is so bad. It could not be worse. It looks
so
like it's from
funny.
like 1997.
Bro,
it looks like a fucking
that's
Jamiroquai
awesome.
video.
The boomers cannot comprehend the levels of propaganda that their grandchildren are being inundated with on Instagram. It's truly incredible. Andreas Oxner sent $100. Where did it go? There it is. Context was everything with Nick's clip. Before we can have a white country, we must defeat Zog. I love you guys. All make great points. Best episode yet.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Dan Zammit sent $5. Blonde, your take is stupid. You have no concept of what it's going to take to achieve victory, and because of that, you and like-minded Wignats could literally ruin it for everyone.
Do you guys know what it's really going to take to be victorious? Do you know the amount of horrible violence that's going to have to occur for true? I don't think that you understand what's coming here.
It's
like, oh, this one guy is going to be our savior, and if you talk against us, you're going to stop the movement from certain victory. It's like, what the fuck? Do you people have any idea what is coming?
It's going to take all of us. It's going to take all of us. And I just think...
Get off my ass, Dan Zammit.
I just think we could be focusing on Randy Fine a little bit more.
Don't make
Anonymous
me focus on that guy.
$10. Christ is king. Arvel is a Waco waiting to happen, and hiding in the mountains didn't work for the Weavers. Rebecca, beyond being a keyboard warrior, what have you done to help in real life to make this country better for your kids?
Oh, I had kids. The fact that I can even have a part-time job is like an astonishing accomplishment for a mother of small children. What do you want me to do here? Do you want me to put my kids in daycare so I can work for the cause? I can manage this show, and I'm barely doing that.
I want you to cook dinner.
Yeah, I cook dinner all the time. Do you guys know how fucking tired I am? My baby woke me up last night 10 times. 10 times. She's got a fever. There are boogers everywhere. I'm dealing with dogs, cooking my husband dinner, breakfast, lunches, cleaning, outline. Like I'm so stretched thin. I cannot do anything else. Stop asking me to do more shit. Stop asking me to vote. Stop asking me to get B-roll.
Vote.
No more.
Reinhardt sent $10. I don't appreciate the condescending line. What are we double?
We lost Cameron.
Oh, did he just like quit?
Oh,
he is. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning where he is. So
he might have sent us a message.
He might have. Can you check? Sure. Reinhardt sent $10. I don't appreciate the condescending line about hiding in the woods while people like you are walking into Balaboo's and asking politely for your government to stop genociding your people as if they will suddenly start caring. He's back.
Cameron, do you want to go to bed? It's no big deal.
If you want to go to bed, you can.
Yeah.
It's late.
Have a little sleepy sleep. We're not going to murder each other, probably.
Daddy can't go to bed before the kid.
Bro. Well, no, listen. When I'm talking about voting and getting involved in politics, I'm talking about this shit at the local level. I'm talking about your town, your county, your region, your state. And that's where it ends. When it comes to campaigning for Trump or donating to the Republican blah, blah, blah committee for blah, blah, blah in the Senate, fuck all of those people. Cut them off. Stop giving your money to Ben Shapiro. Stop giving your money to these dumb PACs that are, allowing these elected leaders to go and kiss the wall. But when it comes to local, that's a different story. Locally, you can run your own candidates. Locally, you can run as a candidate. And locally, there's a lot that can be done against the federal government when it comes to electing a sheriff, appointing a chief of police, enacting new ordinances in the city to prevent, people from blasting hip hop as they drive down the beach.
Yeah.
You can do things locally that will make your area a better place. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm not saying that at the federal or national level we're going to vote our way out of this, but at the local level we've got to be giving it everything, everywhere, all the time. Mustang Blue 86 sent $50. I believe Nick's main point is to seize the reins of power. Right now, he's the closest to doing so.
That's true.
And that's why we should be supporting him. Robert sent $25. I agree with Cameron. The white pill behind this airing out of our differences on our side is a healthy discourse, which was inevitable, but let's not give Shapiro the satisfaction of watching us bicker as our movement naturally grows. We are a team. 07.
Well, we just have to bicker and then get over it. That's the key.
True.
Dave and I will be back on Monday with Emily Yukis.
True.
Tolerating each other once again.
True. And we will be drinking some of this amazing coffee from Above Time Coffee Roasters.
Can we drink the blonde on Monday?
Yeah.
Nice.
The blonde roast has the most caffeine.
Fuck yeah.
I am definitely into that. Mustang Blue 86 sent $50. That being said, he also said that to live in a cohesive society, you need a populace that looks the same, talks the same, and believes all the same things. True. I agree. That's why the Hart-Celler Act sucks so much. And the Protestant Reformation. Kidding. Reinhardt sent $10. While we are building communities from the ground up and nationwide networks of whites that actually give a fuck, you'll be alone clutching your guns, not knowing who to trust, while we have a standing army already on the move.
See, Reinhardt, you're wrong about that. Not if you play both sides.
Bro. Dan Zametson, $5. You just said, never thought we'd get to where we are. No thanks to you. We were the ones who were not blackpilled. Let us do our things. Jimmy C. sent $10. My hood in Brooklyn is heavily Muslim. The voter map showed my district went to Cuomo, as well as other hoods I know to be heavily Muslim. It was the liberal and Jew areas that all went for Mamdani. It was very telling.
I think that's true.
He said that all went to Muhammad. His name is Zohran Mamdani. Mamdani. Get used to it. He's going to kick the Jews out of New York. Thomas More, he's going to fuck up New York. I don't know, man. Thomas More sent $11. With the election of Spanberger and Mamdani, do you feel like there's a considerable threat from future progressive security coalition that will have zero qualms about ignoring Supreme Court injunctions, redefining liberty, and mass censorship online? Yeah, well, they're the CIA. This is like the CIA deep state coming back out of the ground, cracking their knuckles, waking back up, taking control. That's what's going on.
Yeah, but violation of these kinds of things, it cuts both ways. If we seize power, we could just indiscriminately be canceling and censoring people, and it wouldn't really matter.
We can cancel and censor people without seizing power. We can just do it now.
Yeah, I mean...
Ben Shapiro.
People on the right are so worried about hypocrisy. It's like...
it's funny, too, because it's like I've read, and everybody should read Rules for Radicals. And any conservative Republican that's like, oh, we shouldn't resort to the left's tactics. Fuck you. No, we're going to use any tactics, and if that means switching parties to Democrat and running for governor like I did in 2023, we're doing it. Nothing is off limits politically when it comes to winning. Targeted assassinations disavowed. Don't do that. That's bad. Violence is bad. Big Mad Lad sent $10. I want to like Nick, but it seems like he always attacks other white nationalists. Attacking Arvol was too far. His ego is getting too big. He seems to be Nick first. We need to be white first over multiracial America first.
There is a reason for that. I mean, to withstand what Nick has withstood over the years, you have to have, you basically have to be like a bona fide narcissist. Just to withstand those things. I mean, it must have been so terrible.
I don't think he's a narcissist. He wasn't when I met him.
I don't know. I mean, he's certainly
a nice
got
young kid.
He has a healthy ego on him, I would say. He would admit as much.
Yeah, I think he has and you do need to have a healthy ego to be in the space.
Oh, yeah.
People ankle biting you all the time. A real Ubermensch sent $88. The best thing for whites is whatever thing reduces Jewish power over us. We can't afford infighting. We can do that later. Right now, we need to apply all efforts to reducing their institutional power. It goes for Nick. It goes for Devin.
Yeah, I'm not going to do any infighting for like 2 weeks.
Good. I think that's good. That'd be nice.
Moratorium on infighting for 2 weeks. How's that?
Dan Zamet sent $10. Now Israel is the world superpower. We are in a Gaza-like prison state where we are essayed by blacks, sexually assaulted by blacks every day because Princess wanted an ethno-state instead of a 95% white country / mass expulsion of Jews with the ethno-state coming next year.
Oh my God, these Groyper hypotheticals, dude.
These are great. Anonymous sent $50. What do you guys think about the heritage American position like Thomas Rousseau or General 1776 and taking back our history? I've been hearing a lot about this General 1776 guy. Have you heard of him?
A little bit, yeah.
My dad listens to his podcast spaces like every morning. I guess he's like 6 to 9 a.m. on the East Coast, and it's just too early for me to get up. But I mean, yeah, the whole heritage American thing, I mean, it's important to understand your history and like look at the first acts of the Congress. It was for free white people, right? That's who could be a free white person of good character who had lived here for 2 years was who was eligible to be an American. And we lost all of that with Hart-Celler. So, I mean, and Thomas Rousseau has an open invitation to come on the show anytime he wants.
Oh, yeah,
so,
of course.
You know, Patriot Front did do some good stuff up here. They exposed a lot of corruption in Coeur d'Alene when they got arrested. So
I retract my position that they were feds. I used to think that.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I never thought that.
I did.
I knew who these people were for a while. I never fell
I
for
regret that, and I am sorry.
I just didn't like them. And now that they did do a lot of good stuff in Coeur d'Alene with their trial. They got rid of our shit prosecutor, Wes Somerton.
Randy Fine.
Randy Fine. No, Wes Somerton. They got rid of him because he committed Youngblood and Brady violations against them, and they were illegally detained and searched.
Shit, we're about to reach our goal.
Oh, we are close. I can't even read that. The green is too neon. Dan Zamet sent $10. You can stand behind white solidarity, but you're going to be standing there forever because you have no clue how to win, dummy.
How to win what?
How to win, dummy.
How do you know how to win?
Midnight Sun sent $10.
Well, he's talking about politics. Look, politics is something we're going to talk about as a relic of the past here, I think, for a good 5 to 10 years. I mean, does politics, most of what we talk about on this program has nothing to do with electoral politics. So much that's happening is happening outside of democracy pro forma. So it stands to reason over the next, I'd say, the remainder of the decade, you're going to see a total transformation of our politics as we understand it in ways that I just think we're at a moment in time in which the whole population is on the cusp of real radicalization. And that's going to come not just because the social contract has been breached, some of these things we talked about, but because the economy itself is fucked up. That's what this all comes down to is the economic structure of the country, right? What is it that keeps all of these tribal groups together? It's those welfare payments. When they stop, everything's going to go out the window.
True. And we definitely don't have the money. It's gone. It's not there. It's not there. And China's yanking our chain too. Midnight Sun sent $10. Just like a GOP candidate shifting from the primary to the general, Nick is adjusting his message with over 250,000 registered TPUSA students in a power vacuum after Kirk's death. If he captures even a slice of that crowd, it's a big win.
We didn't even talk about the New York Times article, which I know was kind of a positive thing because of the picture that they used, which is the best picture of Nick Fuentes that must have been ever taken.
Look at this. 40% of young GOP staffers align with the Groyper movement. We are winning. Yeah. As Nick said last night, we have breached the outer wall.
What was public support of Nick Fuentes like 6 months ago? We talked. It was like 6%. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely up now. Somebody should do another poll. I bet I know somebody I could call to make that happen. There's a couple of polling firms out there that are doing some good stuff. Jessica sent $10. I'm the Anon. Here's my name, and if you need you need to vote to set a good example. Okay, well, thank you, Jessica.
Oh, it's a lady?
Apparently.
Oh, okay.
Jessica sent another $10. Make a sandwich for your husband and go to confession.
I will do both of those things.
You got to go to confession. Yeah. We all do. I need to go to confession. I should go more often. Thomas Moore sent $11. I would argue that the current vanguard of people like Spamberger, Sherrill, and Slotkin, did you know that these are first CIA operatives to Democratic rep and all became national figures within a couple of years? They want to introduce censorship. I've been saying that they were CIA.
Thomas, I appreciate your support of the show, but I find your messages so vexing.
Well, I actually think this is kind of a good one. I mean, Mamdani does, he's broke. I mean, the Democrat Party was very Jewish, very Zionist for a very long time. And Mamdani, I think, kind of represents the death of the Zionist wing of the Democrat Party. And maybe these people, Spamberger, Sherrill, and Slotkin, represent the birth of the CIA Democrat Party.
Did you see that video, Jews for Mamdani? That it was like an
all
interview.
The rabbis with the tranny rabbi?
Yeah, and then they were going around interviewing people that were Jews that were campaigning for him. And they were like, well, he represents my interests on civil rights. I'm like, what is happening right now?
This is why, in my opinion, the America First position is the correct position, because it's not just about the Zionists, it's about world Jewry. And there are different factions, as Cameron talked about earlier. There's the Hasidics, there's the Zionists, there's the Christian Zionists. There's different factions, and they do go to war with one another from time to time. But all of them are detrimental to American interests, because they elected a fucking commie in New York yesterday, and I don't like that. Anyway.
Sorry, just getting my shoes on here.
Radicalized by reality sent $25. We have a multi-front war right now. Nick is in a position where he can deliver his knowledge of Zionist subversion to the masses. More eyes are on him now. He could compromise that by trying to red pill people on race. Who is the new Jared Taylor? We do need a new Jared Taylor. Maybe we should get him on the show. He is a little Zionist.
Yeah, he doesn't talk about Jews at all.
Yeah.
I love Jared Taylor, but I find his explanation for not talking about Jews insufficient.
Yeah, Michael Collins Piper did a treatment in his book, The Judas Goats, a long time ago. It's worth reading that. Very interesting. Rush 1776 and $50. Rebecca is right. We need to hold leaders accountable. America first is the next. Trust the plan. We aren't voting our way out of this. The tree of liberty must be refreshed with the blood of tyrants and patriots from time to time. Thomas Jefferson.
I had people literally telling me to trust the plan today.
Really?
Yeah, like
Me?
unironically, not you. No. I've had a bunch of Groybers in my.
I don't trust the plan.
Just trust the plan. I'm like,
I trust Nick. Different. Thomas Moore sent $11. Well, I'm glad you think the CIA Dem reps are a threat, but to be honest, I think it's a 3 threat. Congrats on the poll tonight. But I think the world, these people imagine, make the censorship days seem like freedom. It will be like COVID era times 100. Yeah, if the CIA starts censoring people, yeah, it's going to be bad. Let's see. Reinhardt sent $25. Let's ask Cliven Bundy how useless it is to bear arms against the government. If they ever try to come for our TTL, then we are going to make the Bundy Ranch standoff look like a peace rally. Bro, they were like literally, who was that guy? Eric Parker. By the way, he lives in southern Idaho. He hates me for some reason. Because I support Nick. But Eric Parker literally pointed his gun at the feds. And he's free, and he's telling me that Nick's a Fed? Bro, come on. Eric.
Hey, I don't think Nick's a Fed.
I don't think Nick's a Fed, obviously. I think Cam's a Fed.
No, you're the Fed.
Reinhardt sent $10. And all of this, and for all this glazing you're doing on his behalf, are you even going to get an apology from Nick for saying that he doesn't trust you on multiple occasions? No, probably not. And you know what? Nick doesn't owe me jack shit. So I don't really give a fuck.
Yeah, that's lame, though.
Doesn't matter. Don't care. Thomas Morris sent $11. I enjoy Cam's views, but I'm sure what he means of a power structure outside. I'm not sure what he means of a power structure outside of electoral politics. He gives various nebulous ideas, stock crashes, male uprisings, but there is no detail on how all of this will metastasize.
You know, well, Cameron should be the leader of America First.
Well, you're watching it. You're watching an organizational structure. That's what this podcast is all about. And as I pointed out earlier, now we're a node and we're in a network, right? Now, as to the specifics of how that is going to operationalize, well, I can't possibly know that. It's too soon to say. What I am absolutely confident in, however, is that the electoral machine, as we understand it, that's going to be insufficient to deal with what's coming. Right? If you have mass looting and criminality in the streets, and you have insufficient organization at the federal level, and we know at the local and municipal level it's a joke, that's going to create a very dangerous and uncertain environment. And we're going to have to see who fills that vacuum. My great fear in all of this is not that there won't be a reorganization. That's what you're seeing in Europe. That's what you're seeing in countries like England, where new parties are forming on the street, right? Don't take my word for it. All you got to do is go on YouTube and you'll see evidence of this everywhere. The same thing is happening in New Zealand, in Australia. It's happening across Western Europe as well. My fear in all of this is leadership. And that, to some degree, was the subject of this podcast. That's what we talked about. Leadership can make or break everything. We've seen that with Donald Trump. Look at the energy that Donald Trump had. I mean, basically, he was competitive in 3 presidential elections in a row, and he won twice. And what has he done with it? And I'm not convinced that all of this is because he's compromised. I don't think that that's the case. I think a lot of this is because he's a shitty leader, because he's not qualified to be president, because he doesn't know how to implement executive authority or discipline. He has none of those things. So who we select that gets us from A to Z, that is everything. That can make or break us. That can take the energy, the enthusiasm, the spontaneous organization, as I like to say on the street, and destroy all of it. So we've got to be extremely meticulous. And I support what Rebecca said tonight 100%. If people deviate, we've got to hold them accountable. And remember something else here, folks. There are powerful actors arrayed against us. So things like compromise are a problem. We got to pay attention to that. Is it fair to say that Donald Trump is compromised? Yeah, it seems to be, right? And we've talked about that on the show before as well. It seems to be that Miriam Adelson and her cohort of Zionist donors completely bought his presidency. That's a fucking problem. And I think it's destroyed him. I really do. And unfortunately, as Rebecca said earlier, she's 100% right. The magatards don't accept that. They won't listen to you. This is a problem. This could destroy everything.
Where are we? Here we are. Dutiful fascist and $10. Dave, did you work in Kansas politics? I think we worked together. I did. 2018 to 2019. I was out door knocking for Chris Kobach. So it's very possible that we cross paths. Get in touch. I'm sure.
Whatever became of Chris Kobach. I remember him. I met him way back when.
He's in office. He's still a good guy. He got totally fucking chewed up and spit out by the first Trump administration. Remember that? Yeah. Remember that photo of him when he showed up at Mar-a-Lago or wherever it was, Trump's golf course, and he had the binder and it said mass deportations on the front of it, and they like zoomed in with like a super telephoto lens. Yeah, man, Chris, I still like Chris. He recently fired William Hendricks. William Hendricks was involved in the group chat leak of the Kansas Young Republicans, and I fucking hate the fact that Kobach fired him. That was wrong, and he shouldn't have done it. But that aside, Kobach has been okay. Thomas Moore sent 11. Dude, I am doing a live stream. Thomas Moore sent $11. Let me add another vexing super chat. I think that there is a lateral argument for Glenn Youngkin's style future government. I think a future Democratic government is going to overstep morally, and then we are going to be in a popularly appealing position to exploit. I don't really know what that means, other than like if the when the Democrats win in 2028, if they win in 2028, I think that they're going to bring the full force of the state down on anybody to the right of Mao, and I think it's going to get bad. I mean, I was seeing video earlier today. I can probably pull that up pretty quick of what's going on in Ukraine right now, and I basically think that that's what America's going to look like. Yeah, here it is. This is from earlier today in Ukraine. A bunch of Zelensky's thugs stormed a Orthodox church in Ukraine, Azov battalion types. I think that, this would be something we could see in 2028 if, did I not put that on the screen? I might not have put that on the screen.
I saw it.
Well, yeah, because we were watching it on our screen.
Oh.
The viewers didn't see it. A bunch of thugs going to a church, waving baseball bats and guns around. Yeah, I mean, I could see something really bad happening in this country if the wrong people get elected, for sure. Penelope Maynard sent $150. Thank you for the big super chat. Similarly, Devin Stack, Blackpilled flipped me from a nation white nationalist to a steadfast, intractable white nationalist. Still, Fuentes' extemporaneous diatribes are outstanding. Totally agree.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Penelope. I'm a huge fan.
Bro, makes my blood run hot. Like, he starts screaming about these people, and I'm like, Anyway, Rivers of Blood sent $10 on Entropy. New Murdoch AMA just dropped. We'll be listening to it after the show today. Keep up the great work, all of you. Anonymous sent $10. Oh me, oh my, which way to the Versailles Ball, where I saw the beautiful lady heading last week. Twould love to ask her for a dance.
Simp. No, I'm okay.
Simp alert. Send it back. Send the super chat.
Oh, thank you.
Super chat has been deported.
That's right.
I think that brings us up to date there. There might be some super chats on your YouTube channel. I'm going to check our BTC Pay server. This one. Oh, come on, you. This is the exciting part of the show. We are up to date there.
Let me pull
Thomas
up.
Moore sent $11. That's exactly what I mean. Eventually, after the Neo-French Revolution, there will need to be people to call out what is objectively bad, and I don't think Reupers or Zionists can do something like that. It might not be best, but it won't be worst. What?
Well, we got a lot over
this
here.
This guy's doing a lot of thinking, that's for sure.
Definitely. Go ahead.
Keep thinking, brother.
Maui County, keep up the great work, guys. Thank you so much. Jacob Winkleman, sus. Monday, I super chatted via Entropy under the name Black Behavior containing the message Truce. It was not read. I don't necessarily care as long as you guys got the money. Entropy's so shit.
Yeah, it goes back and forth. I got a text earlier from somebody else. What the fuck? Frank Vandersloot sponsors Candace Owens?
Oh,
Bro, Candace Owens is taking Mormon money?
I don't know. Probably.
What the? Yo, Frank, come on, hook a brother up. You gotta sponsor our podcast.
Yeah, really. Jake Winkleman again. I can't imagine being more emotional than a woman for offering mild criticism of Nick. I didn't realize Nick was Christ incarnate. Don't get him started again, guys. Landcraft says, both parties are Zionists. Both parties are non-racist. If you go get an anti-Zionist, non-racist caucus, that's an improvement. You may have to weigh what their views on race are, whether or not to vote. That is true. Dick Boner, Mr. Dick Boner. New York City was lost because of the amount of foreign and welfare leeches have crossed the point of no return. Same goes for New Jersey. True. It was also true. Orwell's Goon, the Greek proverb, a society truly grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they know they will never enjoy. We have to accept that we will not live to see the full victory, so keep the faith truth. Jacob Winkleman.
We'll see about that. We'll see.
Denying Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Denying criticism of Nick is so spiritually brown, I cannot believe it. It's Q-coded, honestly. Dude Mon says, seeing too many completely brainwashed groip-tard super chatters, anti-groip support from me. Groipers, I will enjoy pointing and laughing at you in a couple years. Listen to War Strike.
Holy shit, Frank Vandersloot is sponsoring Candace Owens.
I have to go to the bathroom.
What?
I'll be really quick.
This is crazy.
Can you read these?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, here, give me this. Bro, Frank, come on. We need your money. What are you doing? Where did you leave off? Jacob Winkleman, Dude Bond, did we do that? Chris Disking?
Yep, we did it already.
Quick. Did we work together in the Kobach campaign? LMAO. True. Seraphin sent $19.99. Wings will die waiting for that 6'3" Yeet Chad to show up. Prioritize Nick and his movement. As a Latino, I can recognize Yeets are supreme, but we need to get rid of J Power first. Then we can talk about sending me back. We will be talking about sending you back.
Pretty funny.
Or did I read backwards?
I think you read backwards.
Rebecca,
who the hell knows? Just keep going. Did we hit our goal?
Or chat, tell me. I'm finally looking at the actual chat. Did we read Orwell's Goon yet? A Greek proverb: a society truly grows when old men plant trees whose shade they know they'll never enjoy.
I think that's where she left off.
New York City was lost because of the amount of foreign and welfare leeches that have crossed the point of no return.
We read that already.
Okay,
too.
So I think we're all caught up.
Okay.
Very good. Very good. Now we will awkwardly wait for Rebecca to get back from the bathroom.
I think you have the power, brother. If you want to end the show, go ahead and do it. Take her away.
It's my show now. Dark Dave
It's your
mode.
show.
Dark Dave
did
mode
did we hit our goal or no?
We did, by the way.
All right.
Thank you all so much to everybody who super chatted the show. We appreciate it.
Lightning fast urination. Well,
bro, women can do that. I don't get it. You know, we're over here like trickling out a couple.
I've had to pee for like 2 hours. So
what you guys don't know is she didn't actually go to the bathroom. She just stepped off camera.
Yeah, really. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the Backlash. We'll see you on Monday with Emily Yukas. See you guys later.